and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And the brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one, folks. Busy day ahead. Mike Detillier, 1 hour from right now in the 5 o'clock hour. We'll talk to former LSU defensive back Terrence Alexander. You might remember Terrence Alexander from New Orleans, who went to Stanford and was a grad transfer out at LSU. Lots of perspective, having played in the SEC, having played in the Pac-12 as well, with so much uncertainty going on right now. Of course, played with Joe Burrow. Could he have possibly seen what was going to transpire? So a ton to get to. And Mark Grant, our friend who's a longtime director, 22 years director with CBS Sports, directs the NFL. A lot of questions about the practicality of how the NFL moves forward this year. And also a very special production that CBS Sports is doing on Saturday that we'll tell you about that Mark's involved with. So excited about that coming up in hour number 3. So Ross Dellinger, who while he was at The Advocate on the LSU beat, essentially annihilated the game just because Ross is really good and works really hard and scoops everybody. And he did it again to the national media this time. Ross got an exclusive. And this is a draft that the Power 5 conferences have put together that are minimum testing standards for testing and response protocols. So this is all assuming that sports happen this fall, as you know where I stand on that in some form or fashion they will. But Ross tweeted this out earlier today. It's there's a link up at si.com that you can go read it, but it is a document that details what the Power 5 conferences have collectively agreed upon as far as testing standards and protocols to try to maintain as safe an environment as possible for college football and for sports this fall. So naturally, that would tell you, obviously, they're planning to play and planning for that possibility, I should say. A couple of things herein that I think are relevant. If a college football player tests positive, they'll be required to miss 10 days of competition. That number's higher if you've had contact with a person that tests positive. A full 14 days, a full 2 weeks. Game officials for football and basketball will also be tested. Coaches, however, are not going to be required to be tested. I guess the fear of a leaderless army is very real in this sense. So coaches do not have to be tested, at least will not be required to be tested. And the 14-day quarantine is interesting because it's basically, if you're found to have high-risk contact with the people who've tested positive, you got to quarantine for 14 days, even if you test negative, which seems nonsensical to me, but I don't get to make the rules. Essentially, what they're saying is if you are in contact with someone, let's say, and it is face-to-face without a mask for 15 minutes or longer, and you come into contact with that person, you've got to quarantine for 14 days, even if you test positive, which that part of it is stupid to me, but I don't get to make the rules. Here's a couple of other things that they decided. One, these are things, that would result in the school discontinuing competition. If these things happened, no more competition. One, lack of ability to isolate new cases or quarantine. Like, they can obviously do that. That's not a problem. Two, inability to perform weekly testing. All the schools have enough resources. Power 5 has enough resources to make that happen. That's no problem. This is the one that, for me, I have said all along, is the biggest concern. Number 3 is campus-wide or local community test rates that are considered unsafe by local public health officials. Or 4 is the inability to perform adequate contact tracing. 5, local public health officials state there's an inability for hospitalization infrastructure to accommodate COVID hospitalizations. Some will say that in Baton Rouge, I don't think that is a problem. In other places, that very well could be. But the one that for me is the biggest is the campus-wide or community test rates considered unsafe by local public health officials. Because the thing that I've talked about from jump with this is the fact that you can safely test student athletes. We've seen it. I mean, Ed Ogeron told the vice president 2 days ago, essentially, we've got our guys on campus, we have our protocol, The ones that tested positive early have learned their lesson. They're not going to the bars, and nobody's tested positive since. And it's all been executed to perfection. The bigger question becomes, what happens when you put 20,000 students on LSU's campus and you're not testing everyone every day and you're not being able to trace contact, et cetera? Could you see a spike in cases? If so, would that suspend play? Maybe. I guess my bigger question there is, could student athletes take classes remotely? They did it toward the end of last semester. You don't have to do it for the entire student population, but if there is a segment of the population that you're trying to make sure that you're adequately doing contact tracing and keeping them, as in a safe environment as possible, why not have student athletes have virtual classes for the fall semester or until it's deemed safe to go back to class? So that's the one that I would say, circle it. I've said all along, that's the one that for me is the biggest, because I think as long as you can keep student athletes in their, for lack of a better phrase, bubble, right, at the football ops facility where everyone's wearing a mask and everything is cleaned and there are certain protocols as far as entry and how groups are entered in there and so on, you can manage. They have managed for more than a month now. They've managed. Since the beginning of June, they've managed this. The bigger question is what happens when you start mixing with the general student population. And I think that's something that is going to be a wait and see, unless if there's some significant movement between now and the start of the semester. So good job by Ross there, obtaining that document. So the other thing that's interesting about that document is part of the reason, maybe the biggest reason, that the Pac-12 and the Big Ten announced that they were going to a conference-only schedule is because they felt like they could have a uniform testing policy for their league that wouldn't obviously be nationwide. Well, now it appears as though all the Power Five is adopting a uniform testing policy and protocol, so maybe that opens the door back for those leagues to yet again consider the possibility of non-conference games. For what it's worth, Greg Sankey was a guest on Mad Dog Radio today. This was Sirius XM Mad Dog Radio. And Greg Sankey said very clearly that he's still aiming for a season that starts on time and that can be played in its entirety, while acknowledging there are challenges that exist. When asked about a spring football season, Sankey said, quote, "If circumstances dictated, I'm not going to take that completely off the table, but it's certainly not on the list of priority points at this point." Let's dig a little deeper there. You're 2 weeks away from their self-imposed timeline. 2 weeks from the SEC's self-imposed late July timeline to make a decision about the fall. You're 2 weeks removed amid spiking COVID cases and all the uncertainty, and Sankey's asked about the possibility of a spring season, and he says it's certainly not on the list of priority points at this point. If he had said that back in March, okay, it's not a priority point. You're 2 weeks from your self-imposed mandated deadline. If it's not on the priority list now, when will it be? I think it goes to show you just how averse they are to the possibility of a spring season. In this interview, Greg Sankey brought up Tua, who, of course, got injured late last year. And if that were to happen this season, then that player would miss the opportunity to play the following season as well. And then, of course, there's the aspect that we've talked about quite a bit, which is your best players just sitting out of a spring season. So the fantastic news from last evening, if you haven't seen it yet, is that NASCAR held a race with fans, and 20,000 people showed up. And Sankey said that he is absolutely observing the outcomes of that race, what's happening with the NFL and Major League Baseball and the NBA, et cetera, and will consider all of that information. But I don't know how you can look at it as anything but a positive that during this time, when there's so much hyper-focused on rising cases, although that's debatable right now, but while there's so much hyper-focus on that, you're able to hold a major sporting event with 20,000 people in attendance, socially distanced. That's when you look at that, and Sankey saying we're not really interested in a spring season, and then, or it's not a priority point, and then Stephanie Remp was in here a couple of days ago and said they've not even considered the idea of no fans. It tells you where they're leaning and what their aim is and what end they're trying to get to. And what Stephanie told us is the possibility of season ticket holders each getting 2 tickets That wouldn't be able to appease everyone, obviously, but if every season ticket holder got 2 tickets, you could safely social distance, have a portion of your capacity in Tiger Stadium, and the possibility of an expanded schedule. Here's what I mean, and Greg Sankey alluded to this as well. He was asked about the SEC championship game moving back. It's currently scheduled for December the 5th, and he said that could make sense. We want to be wise about how we move forward, but we also have to think through contingencies. So understand how all of these stories mesh together, okay? Sankey, Stephanie Rem, everyone that we've heard from. Scott Strickland yesterday, we told you about Florida, who said they're going to play Florida State. Ray Tanner, South Carolina, said we're playing Clemson regardless if it's conference only or not. Their focus is playing games in the fall in a full schedule with fans. That's the SEC's focus right now. Meanwhile, the Power 5 testing protocol could have a scenario where players are quarantined for 10 or 14 days. That could mean you extend your schedule. You extend the length of your season to allow for more off weeks if need be. That's something that Stephanie said in here with us on Tuesday, and something that Greg Sankey is alluding to by the fact that he's willing to potentially move the SEC championship game back. The thing we've said all along, they're going to play football because they have to play football. How it starts, how that looks, when it starts, full season, partial season, fans, partial fans, like that all is to be determined. But as you start to piece together the puzzle, you can see what it is that they're looking at. We'll keep following it as the story develops each and every day. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're with us. Brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Let me knock out a quick break. When we come back, I want to talk some Alvin Kamara, because Derrick Henry got his contract extension. What does that mean for Alvin Kamara? I got some thoughts on it. We'll discuss it next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Premier South Roofing and PremierSouthLA.com. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, North Shore, and online at PremierSouthLA.com. PremierSouthLA.com. You can see pictures of their work. You can read customer reviews at PremierSouthLA.com. Remember, they do shingles, metal roofs, slate or tile, gutters and awnings. If it's commercial or residential, Premier South Roofing does it all. I would highly recommend that you go read the reviews, because one of the things that's so important that you hear all the time is people who might be friends, or maybe it's even you, who have had awful experiences with contractors. At Premier South Roofing, you never have to worry about that. From every 5-star review and rating that you'll see, if it's the being A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, or Super Service Award from Angie's List, or earning the Torch Award for ethics in business, you're going to have a better experience with a contractor when you call Premier South Roofing. PremierSouthLA.com.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, if not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
For real, man, I felt at home. I love everything about the organization, how they carry themselves, how they treat their players, and just a winning atmosphere.
That's a Saints cornerback Janoris Jenkins was on the NFL Network on Good Morning Football today, talked about why he decided to re-up with the New Orleans Saints. Of course, big part of what the Saints are trying to build defensively opposite Marshawn Lattimore, and you look at that secondary, they appear set, especially if they can get good safety play. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson going into year 2, excited about that. But Jenkins also talked about what is really the biggest and newest challenge for New Orleans in the 2020 season. Of course, Tom Brady going down to Tampa, all of a sudden the Bucs look completely different, which is odd to say because they had a quarterback who threw for 5,000 yards a year ago. It wasn't like they were slouches. But as we've talked about a lot this offseason, one of the biggest challenges for Tampa and for everyone, Dennis Allen talked about it a few weeks back. Not only does he have to look at the things that Tampa were doing last year with Bruce Arians, but he's also got to go look at what New England was doing with Tom Brady and see how those two will marry, because week 1, you got to figure it out without having seen it yet on film. So in some sense, you're at a disadvantage because you don't know what Tampa's going to look like. And Tampa's been talking a lot. Gronk predicted a fun season for Tampa, and it was the folks on Good Morning Football who asked Janoris Jenkins if he was worried about that challenge that Tampa presents this year.
Oh, man, we only worry about the New Orleans Saints. We're not worried about nobody right now. We're going to take it one game at a time, one play at a time, and just get better and compete every week. We understand that, Tampa Bay, as you mentioned, got some new weapons, new quarterback. But, it's paper. You got to produce on the field. So we just worry about the New Orleans Saints at the moment.
It's paper. You got to produce on the field. You better believe that's going to be motivational for Tom Brady and for the Bucs, but he's not wrong. I mean, this is still a team that was sub 500 a year ago, and whatever you want to say about Tom Brady and his legacy, which he is the greatest quarterback to ever play in the NFL, in my opinion, certainly the greatest champion the NFL has ever produced. That's not debatable, but he's also a guy who had the exact same quarterback rating a year ago as Jameis Winston. And I know all the nonsense that you're going to spout about the lack of weapons, et cetera. And there's a retort to that, which is Drew Brees, before Michael Thomas, never had a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Tom Brady didn't look like Tom Brady last year. Can he do it in Tampa? We'll see. But I also look at a team in Tampa that has a lot of questions to ask in and of itself in week 1 in the Dome against the Saints. That's going to be a tough ask. So Saints got a great chance to get off on the right foot, and I'm not completely convinced that Tampa Bay is going to be a legitimate contender this year. And the other sort of caveat that I don't know it's being discussed a ton. I mean, we've got a month before we really have to delve into this. But Jameis Winston being on the Saints is a major coup for New Orleans also. Because Jameis knows all the personnel. He's not going to go know Brady, but he knows the Tampa coaches and he knows the Tampa personnel. And one of the things that Sean Payton throughout the years has done is he has, think about it, he has, I don't want to say pillaged, but he has been very opportunistic in bringing guys from within the division to New Orleans. I mean, he did it with Kurt Coleman, the safety from Carolina. Curtis Lofton, of course, was a linebacker with Atlanta who he brought to New Orleans. You look at Jameis right now. I mean, it's something that Sean has done throughout his time in New Orleans. If there's morsels of information he could get from players, free agents within the division, and certainly guys that he's scouted and knows well, he'll bring them into the fold in New Orleans. And I don't doubt at all the impact that Jameis, even if he's not playing a bunch of snaps any snaps against Tampa week 1, the importance in game planning and scheming for that week 1 matchup, I think is critical. So we'll talk much more about that, obviously, as we get closer to it. But we know Saints and Tampa week 1. My guess is Jackrabbit just gave Tampa something to think about and probably to motivate them for the next 6 weeks or so. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you with us here. Brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Blue Bonnet, Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. So Derrick Henry got his new contract. The NFL's rushing leader with the Tennessee Titans has agreed on a 4-year, $50 million contract extension. So I'm not great at math, but that averages out to $12.5 million per year. So Derrick Henry got this deal. And something we talked about a couple of days ago was the possibility of next year's free agent market looking stacked. And it made a lot of sense because had Derrick Henry not agreed to his contract extension, obviously that would have been one guy on the list. Alvin Kamara, another guy potentially on the list as far as a potential free agent for next year. When you look at all the names, Leonard Fournette, we're expecting will be a free agent next year. Dalvin Cook, Aaron Jones, Joe Mixon, Philip Lindsay of the Broncos, Kenyon Drake, who's currently on an $8 million a year contract thereabouts, Todd Gurley, Marlon Mack. I mean, you got a really significant roster of backs that are all going to hit free agency next year. So one of the things that's really interesting about the game the Saints are going to have to play here is what you do with Alvin Kamara, considering not only the circumstances around the player, but around the position he plays. Let's delve into this a little deeper. So Derrick Henry gets a deal from the Titans. 4 years, $50 million, $12.5 million per year. We know previously Ezekiel Elliott set the mark at $15 million, and then Christian McCaffrey broke that number at over $16 million a year. If you're watching on the far right column, that's the average per year. So look at that column if you're watching, the column on the far right. So McCaffrey set the market. Zeke had previously set it. Le'Veon Bell had set it before that at 13.1, just beyond David Johnson, who had set it at 13. Well, Derrick Henry comes in at 12.5. Normally, when a guy who is the premier player at that position, he's going to come in and reset the market. That's what Michael Thomas did when he got his record-setting deal last year. He reset the market. So what this tells you is that the Titans did not think that Derrick Henry was worthy of resetting the market, that he was not the best running back in football. And clearly, Henry and his representations were okay with that. His representatives were okay with him not getting more than McCaffrey got because there was no way he was going to get it. But where he settled at 12.5 is really interesting because look at who is next on the list. After Derrick Henry's 12.5 is the aforementioned Kenyon Drake at 8.48. So call it 8.5. You have a $4 million gap. I mean, it is basically McCaffrey, Elliott, Bell, Johnson, Henry, gap. Kenyon Drake at 8.4, Melvin Gordon at 8, Saquon Barkley's at 7.7, Leonard Fournette's at 6.7, obviously on a rookie deal. But my point is, with the free agents who have gotten that next contract, you have got a major gap between Derrick Henry and Kenyon Drake. Alvin Kamara, in my opinion, needs to fall somewhere in that gap. He's going to get more than Kenyon Drake because he deserves more than Kenyon Drake for the factor he is within the Saints offense, not just running the ball, but obviously catching the ball as a returner as well. He's just that dynamic. But we also know that he's not going to get McCaffrey, Zeke money because, as we've talked about before, those guys are in on more than 90% of the offensive snaps for their respective teams. Alvin Kamara is in that 70-75% range of offensive snaps. So he's just not on the field as much. He's not going to command that top dollar. So the question is where? For me, I say if you look at Kenyon Drake at 8.5, 8.48, and Derrick Henry at 12.5, you split the difference. Now, and make it 10.5. I think more likely Kamara is going to want to match Henry's 12.5 or close to it. The Saints, I don't think are going to be willing to pay that for a running back, especially when you know you've got DeMario Davis coming up. You're going to have to make decisions on guys like Marcus Williams and Jared Cook and Sheldon Rankins. And obviously you're going to have Ramchick and Lattimore coming up the following year as well. So it's hard for me to imagine the Saints saying, yeah, we're going to give you that 12.5 or more. Maybe they will, but the Saints generally are hard-lined on the number that they want. So, but here's the thing. If that's where they land somewhere in the 10.5 range, I'm good with that. They haggle, maybe go a little more. But we mentioned about there was a couple things. Not only the market, but in the position, but also the market that you're in right now. Remember that in this sort of COVID world, there's a very real possibility. The NFL and the Players Association right now are haggling over how they are going to distribute this loss effectively. The financial loss that the league is going to take this year and how they're going to apply these salary givebacks. Basically, some owners want to take the hit. The Players Association is saying, let's absorb it from 2022 to 2030 on the cap. That's what the PA wants to do, is to spread it out so that you don't have this massive dip in salary in 1 year. Well, some owners are saying, let's just do it and get it over with. Well, if you do that next year, then, and you have this massive salary cap reduction, then what you're going to have happen is you're not going to be able to afford your elite level talent. You're not going to be able to afford some veterans. But what it's going to do is it's going to kill the market for a guy like Kamara. Like, if this cap reduction happens next year, it kills the possibility of Kamara testing the market and really finding top dollar. You're also talking about a year, we just went through all the numbers, all the players, that are set to hit free agency, the running backs. You're going to have a saturated market when that is flooded with inventory, like a saturated market that is down, where if the salary cap is reduced in a flooded market, teams just aren't going to pay for running backs. It would actually, and this is probably part of Derrick Henry's thinking. He could have played this year on the franchise tender and then try to get a contract next year. But if the salary cap is down next year in a flooded market and he asks for an inflated price, the Titans could tell him to take a walk and they'll go sign Dalvin Cook or somebody else at a lesser number, whoever would be willing to take it. Very much a buyer's market in terms of where next year, potentially, in terms of where teams are. So for the Saints, if they wait, they could potentially be negotiating with great leverage. And if Kamara and his representatives know that, they may be more inclined to take I don't want to say a reduced cost or a team-friendly deal, but something that's going to be more reflective of the market. And look, I love Alvin Kamara, and I want him to be in the black and gold for a long time. And everyone who says that, he's, that last year showed he's not what he could be without Mark Ingram, I think that's baloney. The guy obviously had knee and ankle injuries. He's a magnificent player, and you got to gamble because anybody could get injured. But I'm also not willing to pay McCaffrey, Zeke, Le'Veon Bell money. But would I pay $10 million a year for Alvin Kamara? Absolutely. And I think Alvin Kamara would be wise to take that, considering what could be ahead next year. Now, maybe he goes out this year fully healthy, has it. Why Siri always? What do I say that Siri always hears? Anyway, maybe he goes out this year and has a monster season, and they come to an agreement to spread out this cap issue until 2030, and so he bets on himself and he wins. But the opposite could be true as well for Alvin Kamara. So there's this general assumption like they won't get something done. They'll just wait till next year. I'm not so sure that's the best path for Kamara, and I think it might be the best path for both to get it done this year. All right, it's after further review. I'll definitely ask Mike Detillier his thoughts on that when he comes. But that, for me, that would be my number, 10-5. David Johnson's at 8-5. Derrick Henry's at 12-5. Split the difference. 10-5 for Kamara. Make it happen. 4 years, 10-5. Let's go. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break, y'all. Glad you're with us. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We'll go around the SEC when we come back. Mike D in 29 minutes. Stick around.
AFR.
Brought to you by Darren James and Associates, powered by eXp Realty. Every home listed by every company, all in one place. Agent225.com. Think real estate. Think Darren James. Commercial, residential, buying, selling. If you're thinking real estate, think Darren James. And remember, nobody's going to do a better job marketing your home than Darren James, because no realtor spends more money marketing homes, your home, than Darren James. Think about how many other realtors. I want you to think about this for a second. How many realtors do you ever hear doing daily radio ads marketing their properties, their listings, your property? Hear it every day right here on from Darren James. He literally spends thousands of dollars every month in marketing to drive eyeballs, potential buyers to his listings, your listing. So when you think real estate, think Darren James. 335-7666. 335-7666 or agent225.com. Think real estate, think Darren James.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
34.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All righty. Glad you are rolling along with us. Mike Detillier, 24 minutes from right now. I hope this doesn't come across as preachy, but it might. And if it does, I know it probably will, and I apologize. But I just think we kind of live in an age where I wish media would hold itself to a higher standard. And I told you this is going to sound preachy, and I don't really have a good launch point. You probably saw the story today that the MEAC has suspended fall sports for the season due to COVID-19. The operative word there is suspends. Think of it in terms of a rain delay. A game can be suspended because of a rain delay, but when it's suspended, you have the option of resuming, right? Cancel means you're not resuming it. It's over. It seems insignificant. It seems like, you might be arguing over semantics, but it matters a lot. And I think the MEAC was very thoughtful in their release. On their website, the MEAC released this statement, which said MEAC suspends fall sport season due to COVID-19. In the headline, in the tweet, and 3 separate times in the release, they use the word suspend. They even very clearly say a decision is yet to be made whether or not fall sports schedules will be moved to the 2021 spring semester. So this is an indefinite suspension. They may still play. They may play in the spring. It's not been determined, but nothing has been canceled. But this is where I go, I think, like, the media does you. And I say the media, and I don't mean to paint with a broad brush and have this, this far-reaching, all-inclusive umbrella of criticism, but you're the one who loses because we owe you more than that. Because anyone who looks at this has now been misled. And the most discouraging thing is that every damn headline I read today all used the word cancel. And it's wrong. It's incorrect. The MEAC did not cancel its season. I know most of you don't care about the MEAC. I don't mean it to be that way. And look, maybe some of you do, honestly, because obviously the MEAC is an HBCU conference, and there are games that Southern University and Grambling play against MEAC schools. So for some of you, this may very well matter. But Pro Football Talk, MEAC cancels football season. I mean, just go to Twitter and type in MEAC cancel, and you'll see them. Every single one of them. 24/7 Sports. MEAC will reportedly cancel all fall sports in 2020. I mean, go look at all of them. Brian McLaughlin, he's got a blue check mark. MEAC becomes the third conference in FCS to cancel football season. I mean, notable writers, Brett McMurphy, MEAC canceling fall sports. I mean, it's one after another that all use that headline, and it's just wrong. The Philly Daily News, MEAC, third D1 football to cancel. Like, they didn't cancel the season. They have indefinitely suspended their season, and it matters. And it's just troubling to me. I mean, that was like day one of MassCom 2010 with Mac Dunn, who would tell you, like, yes, that matters. There's a difference between suspend and cancel. And you all are the ones that lose. The consumer, the reader, is the one that loses. So I tell you all the time, be more than a headline reader, and that's another good example of why you should be. All right. I'll get on. Was that too preachy? Like, was that annoyingly preachy?
I wouldn't say annoyingly preachy.
But it was really preachy.
A little preachy.
It wasn't a little preachy. It was a lot preachy. But I wasn't preaching at the audience. I was preaching at my colleagues who I am very disappointed in. Like, very reputable reporters from major sites. And I think the problem is, like, we live in an era where there's so much pressure on writers in particular in a digital era to generate numbers and clicks and views, because those are the metrics by which they're judged and a lot of by which they remain employed. And the reality is, whoever's first on Twitter, you win, because you're going to start getting all the retweets. You're the one that's going to populate everybody's feed. So you've got to be first. And so often the processes of going through a digital editor and reading and rereading a headline, like all of that just goes out the window. It's how quickly can you get it up and out there. And mistakes like that happen, and it's misleading, it's misguided. There are people all over the country and the world today who thinks the MEAC have canceled football. They haven't canceled football. They very clearly, in the headline, in the tweet, and 3 times in the body of the article, used the word suspended. And even clearly stated there's a possibility that they play football in the spring. I started preaching again.
No, it's okay. It's copy and paste reporting, though. That's the problem. Nobody even bothers to read it. It's just copy and paste.
Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions.
Whenever you're ready.
The Auburn Tigers.
Whenever you're ready.
This used to be color-coded. Auburn is light blue. If you could tell me why Auburn is light blue, I'll apologize right now.
Malik Miller won't be returning to Auburn football. No specific reason given for the running back's departure. Probably because he just wasn't going to play very much. It's unclear if he'll be a grad transfer. He is not currently in the portal, so he could end up just not playing football any longer. He was a 3-star member of Auburn's 2016 class, played in 35 games the last 4 years.
The Florida Gators.
Florida wide receiver Deontay Marks, he is headed to the transfer portal. Barring a waiver being granted, however, Marks will have to sit out the 2020 football season if he moves on to another FBS school. That would leave him with 3 years of eligibility starting in 2021. Marks was a 3-star member of the Florida football class of 2019. He did redshirt in the 2019 season.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
And even though he's leaving Bama, Javion Davis may not be leaving the SEC. Mississippi State is one of the schools in the mix to land the former Crimson Tide forward, who went into the NCAA transfer portal last week. The other schools, Western Kentucky, Xavier, Georgetown, Tulane, and Wake Forest. Davis started 14 games for Alabama last season. There you have it. It was around the SEC. Presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. Check them out online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Oh, I missed everything. There, like the whole goal. I think it's behind.
You got the wall, though.
I think it's behind the set. That's really gone. That's back there. That's one of those ones like when you find a Cheeto under your couch when you move 6 years later. We're gonna find that paper ball whenever, like, when they dismantle this set and move us into another room, whenever that may be. They're gonna find that paper ball years later with Cheetos in it and whatever else T-Bob has thrown behind that wall over the last 2 years. That's a scary thought.
What else is T-Bob? Does T-Bob regularly throw things?
Well, he just practices bad hygiene generally. You did see the video of his automobile that I tweeted after we were coming home from the SEC championship. You didn't?
No.
How did you miss that, Brain?
You already know the answer to that question.
I don't know the answer to that question. How did you miss that?
I don't know.
A lot of people saw it.
Wait, that's the one that led to the promotion about the
Benny's car wash.
I remember the whole Benny's car wash thing.
Yeah.
Don't remember the video.
Please tell me you've heard of 311.
311, the band?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You missed this too. Musso and Paul, not only would they not consider themselves fans, never heard of the band 311. Never heard of them.
Oh, that's sad.
Didn't know it was a thing. Yeah, I know.
How?
My question exactly. But Paul never talked, so I never got an answer. See? All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll wrap up hour number 1 when we come back. Mike D in 15 minutes. Stay here.
AFR.
Let me take 60 seconds and remind you about Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery. Look, you got decisions to make, right? You can go to the Giant Box store, but going to Clegg's is just such a better option. They've got horticulturists that know our climate and how certain plants and trees or shrubs might do in our climate. They can answer all of your questions, and their selection's amazing. They've been around for more than 60 years at Clegg's Nursery. They have full greenhouses with plants and flowers and trees that were grown here, so they're acclimated to South Louisiana, so odds are they'll live longer instead of being shipped in on a box truck. And because Clegg's is partnered with True Value Hardware Store, anything you'd get at a hardware store, you can get at Clegg's. So it'll save you a trip. If you're looking for ferns or duct tape, they've got it. It's Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. Tell them Matt sent you in. Buy local, shop local, Clegg's Nursery.
Richards Honda is constantly looking for smart ways to make things easier for you. So we created our buy from home option. It's the easiest, most convenient way to shop for a car, all from the comforts and safety of your own home. Just log on to richardshonda.com, click on the Buy From Home button, and with a few simple steps, your new or pre-owned car will be ready for pickup or delivered right to your door. It's fast, easy, and smart. Try it today at richardshonda.com.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Our big New Year sale is going on now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, and you can get $3,200 off MSRP on a 20 Tacoma TRD or lease a 2020 Tacoma Special Edition for $209 a month. Come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Okay, Brain will have This Day in Sports in just a quick second. We love doing Best Person in Sports when there's a story to tell. And this is a great one with a local angle doing a superstar doing something great amid an awful tragedy. But Tyrann Mathieu is going to pay for the funeral of 9-year-old Devontae Bryant. You probably know this story. Devontae Bryant's the 9-year-old from New Orleans who was shot and killed on Monday. There was a gunman who opened fire in the 7th Ward, killed Bryant, hit a teenage boy in the leg and a teenage girl in the stomach. A suspect still not yet in custody. I just cannot even, I am like physically ill thinking about this family having to bury their 9-year-old. And Devontae's 10th birthday would have been on July 31st. So he will be buried on what would have been his 10th birthday. So whoever the coward is that shot a 9-year-old in the head, I hope they find you, and I hope you burn for all eternity. And to Tyrann Mathieu, a tip of the cap, who doesn't live in New Orleans anymore, but obviously was from the city and has still done tremendous work giving back to New Orleans. And in this instance, found a family that's suffering and in need and lifted them up. So good for you, Tyrann Mathieu. He'll be our best person in sports today. Okay, Brain, on this day in the history of the world of sports, what in the world happened?
Not a lot that's worth repeating.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That's This Day in Sports on a Thursday edition of AFR. Mike Detillier in 8 minutes.
Have exactly 2 things that happened. They happened in back-to-back years.
Okay.
It was on this day in 1987 that Don Mattingly hit his 4th Grand Slam of the season and tied the AL record of homers in 6 straight games.
How about that guy?
I only bring that up because Don Mattingly was like one of my favorites growing up.
But you're a Mets guy. How's that
I am
possible?
a Mets guy.
That doesn't make any sense.
grew up playing first base. Don Mattingly played first base. You can't tell me who I can grow up liking.
Well, you're right. I can't tell you who you can grow up liking. However, I also don't see how you can be a Mets fan and like Don Mattingly. That doesn't make sense.
You know what? I could solve this with this one sentence. The 1984 Donruss card. Boom.
Still don't get it.
You kidding me?
So
it was like gold.
I get it. So you liked the Don Mattingly baseball card, but at some point you had to come to that.
You know, guy hit 333 every year.
I
He
get
posted
it.
up like
I get
35, 40
Don,
homers. What's not to like about it?
I get liking Don Mattingly. I even get if you want to be a fan of the Mets for whatever reason. 86 most likely, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I get that. The two, that's just a weird juxtaposition, liking the both of them.
Yeah, that's not a huge Venn diagram there. There's not a... Yeah. I hear you, but it exists.
Like, I liked Ryan Sandberg. He was my favorite player as a kid because I loved the flip shades. I'm not a huge Cubs fan.
Right.
Not really a Cubs fan at all, but I loved Ryan Sandberg.
Okay. You're a Yankees fan.
The Yankees and the Cubs, interleague play wasn't even a thing. They never even played each other.
Okay. I don't see how
but
your
they're in the same
situation
city.
is any
But
different.
they're in the same city. I
The
mean,
hell
like
does that matter?
Because they
What's
didn't
it
play the Subway
matter?
Series.
The interleague play didn't exist.
I understand, but they're in the same city. You can't like it. You have to pick.
There's a rule.
New Yorkers have to pick. Yeah, there's no New Yorker.
You know what's even worse
There's
for
no
Chicago to go over to a second city where they make their pizza 8 inches thick? Like, you can't. How can you like New York but not like Chicago?
I didn't.
Or no, how can you like one from each?
I just told you I like Ryan Sandberg's flip shades. The two aren't in competition. In the city of New York, people either like the Yankees or the Mets. They like the Jets or the Giants. Like, they pick.
I'm not in New York.
Okay. What else happened? Don Mattingly did something. I don't even remember what he did.
Yeah, he hit his 4th Grand Slam of the season and tied an AL record for homers in 6 straight games. On his way to a major league record of 8.
Okay.
Guy puts up numbers like that, 11-year-old Brian's going to be into it.
Okay.
1988, Carl Lewis ran a wind-assisted 9.78 100 meters. Told you it was a light day today.
Thank you, Brain.
God, that was worthless.
You know what else happened today? The NCAA eased the rule for bowl eligibility. Although this happened actually today, like on this very day in the year 2020. Because the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are nonsensically going to conference-only schedules, the NCAA Division I Council has basically said you can play 2 FCS opponents this year and still get bowl eligible. Like usually you can only count 1 FCS opponent toward bowl eligibility. Well, now, this year, they're saying you can count 2, and that may help some FCS programs actually stay afloat if they're able to have those games. All right, Mike Detillier is going to join us coming up on a Thursday edition of AFR. Stay here.
AFR.
Brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com, 288-8138 or ReliefWindows.com. You know the drill. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows. They do it all. Energy-efficient replacement windows, beautiful entry doors, hardy plank vinyl siding. We've had windows and doors from Relief Windows done in our house. We've not done the siding yet, but that's a great option as well. If you want to be done forever and never have to paint your house and have that hardy plank siding on the side of your house, comes finished in whatever color you want, so you'll never have to worry about painting it again. It won't crack or chip, and it's also fire resistant, so there's a safety component to it as well when you install that siding on your home. It's Relief Windows. You want to lower your energy bills? Install these energy-efficient replacement windows. You want to beautify the entry to your house? Install a beautiful entry door. Hardy plank or vinyl siding, Relief Windows does it all, and they do it better than anyone. Windows, doors, siding, it's Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Give them a call today. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property.
Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Citizens Bank is proud to bring you the Fan of the Week. But during these times with no fans, Citizens Bank is switching its support to the Banking on BR campaign to raise money for the Baton Rouge Food Bank. You can help out by visiting brfoodbank.org or bankingonbr.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 for only $30,400 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you. 0% for 72 months.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Getting you ready for hour number 2 of After Further Review. Mike Detillier coming your way in less than 6. Yeah, I said Detillier. Detillier coming your long day. Coming your way in less than 60 seconds. Hey, Zion has left the bubble. Zion Williamson leaving the club today to attend to an urgent family medical matter. He will have to quarantine when he gets back. That quarantine will last at least 4 days. Ross Dellinger reporting that SI has obtained a draft of the Power 5 document detailing minimum standards for testing and response protocols for COVID-19. Those include once-a-week testing, 10-day isolation for positive cases, a mandatory 14-day quarantine for contacts, and it offers up some details on game and season cancellations as well. Hey, if you missed any of After Further Review, you can check it out on our YouTube page. Don't forget to subscribe while you're there. Hour 2 of After Further Review coming your way now.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After Further Review.
Say it one more time.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
Let's ride.
After Further Review, our weekly talk with Mike Detillier is brought to you by the one and only New Orleans original, Cesarac Rye Whiskey.
I'm Mike D and I get respect.
He was taking them from Highway 1 to Highway 308.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And the Brain.
Hey, the brain got a poop.
We're here. Glad you are as well. Make it a good one. Thursday, hour 2 means we get to spend a full hour talking ball with Mike Detillier. SaintsReport.com, MikeDetillier.com, Saints News Network over at SI.com, and with us here every Thursday. Mike D, always a pleasure, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Mike, let's start with the Derrick Henry news and how it impacts Alvin Kamara. I gave some thoughts on it in hour 1. I'd like to delve a little deeper to get your thoughts. So, Derrick Henry gets his long-term deal, 4 years, $50 million. What does that mean for Alvin Kamara?
Well, a couple of weeks back, I told you that's the blueprint. That's what Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara were waiting on. They were waiting on that deal. No one was going to touch McCaffrey's deal. That was just out of realm. But I think now, maybe a little north or a little south, that's what Kamara and Dalvin Cook are going to sign for. So it's the blueprint of what the Vikings and the Saints are going to look at. If you're going to sign either one, and both of them, most likely, will re-sign, I think that is the type of terms that you're looking at. And so the Titans have already given you the blueprint for it.
Mike, do you think that, just to be clear, do you think the Saints and the Vikings both extend their running backs this year, or they wait till next year?
I have always felt that at least one of the two would this year, and I strongly lean toward Kamara would. You look at what he's getting paid today. You know, he's way down the list as far as paydays are concerned. He understands the risk of playing running back, and so does Cook. Both of them do. Wouldn't you want that deal in your pocket now if it's close?
What
answer is yes.
Is there a benefit, Mike, for Kamara getting healthy and playing this season out?
Listen, you might be able to stretch a little bit more money. You might be able to stretch a little bit more money with it. But my feeling is that you see now what the market's bringing to the table. You see it in front of your eyes now. Do you take that chance? You always take that chance of getting hurt or maybe not having a big season. So where would that lead you at this point? Again, Matt, I think that Derrick Henry deal, and I said it a couple weeks ago, and I'll repeat it now, that's the one both parties were looking at, both Cook and also Kamara, to try to cut a long-term deal. And listen, in dealing with the Titans radio network, and no, it's no secret because I work with them too. Mm-hmm. Man, I got too many damn jobs, but whatever. It all pays good, so whatever. I'm not going to complain. But look at how they structured. I mean, this offense today is really structured around Derrick Henry and what he's done probably the last 17, 18 games. He was splitting time the first couple years there. And he didn't get his groove as a runner. And all of a sudden it hits with Ryan Tannehill at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
You better damn well get that running back situation straight. Derrick Henry is a man out on that football field. Now, he's not a great receiver. He can catch the ball, but that's not the high point of his game. It's not the high point. You look at how the Saints are structured with Alvin. He is their lead back and their number 2 receiver. Okay? He's their number 2 guy. No matter how you cut it, he's the guy. Other than Michael Thomas, he's making the catches. So they're both structured differently, but you see the importance of both, of what they can do for their football teams. And to me, if I get that type of offer given to me, if I'm Kamara, I'm Cook, I sign it.
Mike, is
no
there
reason to wait it out.
Sorry to interrupt. Is there a potential, and we were talking about this in hour one, because there's, and maybe you could elaborate on this as well, because I'd love your thoughts. There's the potential that obviously this year's down revenue,
right,
it's going to have an impact on the salary cap. There's a debate over whether or not the PA wants to extend it out through like 2030. And I saw a report that some owners want it like now. But that would obviously cause the cap next year to plummet. Does that factor in for Kamara, that if he tries to wait out a better deal, that it could come in a year where you have a saturated market of running backs with all the guys that are set to hit free agency next year, in a year where the cap could be lower, and so the number won't be as high?
I do think that's in the back of your mind if his negotiating team. Now, I don't think they're going to stretch just to 2030. I mean, that's a long time. But I can say them come to a compromise of saying, okay, for the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to take a little bit. It's going to be cut a little bit. And if that's the case, then again, the advantage is take your deal now. And if I'm thinking like Kamara.
Mm-hmm.
I want as much money as I can get. Come on. Everybody's in that spot. I don't care who you are. You want to try to get as much money as you can. You know your career is going to be short, and really short at running back. But in the back of my mind, I'm smart enough to think that this football team also has deals to be done with Demario Davis, with Ryan Ramczyk, with Marshawn Lattimore. It's in the back of my mind. Listen, that none of those deals are going to come cheap.
Mm-hmm.
None of them. So if you get a deal close to this, excuse me, I'm taking it. Again, the blueprint has been laid out for you, and for what they do for their franchises. And Cook's a really good receiver too, because he's almost a carbon. He's a little bit more heavy-duty runner when he's been healthy, and that's been the issue now. So Cook's got to think of that too. Man, I ain't stayed healthy for a long period of time. And we saw Alvin get nicked up last year. It's part of the play in the position. So, Matt, I'm just telling you the same thing I told you a couple weeks back. This is the blueprint of what both guys will get. It may be a little north of that. It may be a little south of that. But it'll be in that zip code. And that was the deal that they were both sides were waiting to see how the Titans would handle it. Johnny Robinson, I talked to Coach I still call him Coach Rob. He got his coaching start down here at Nicholls State University. Unbelievable. You talk about a ride. He was a GA here. He took the position of Ed Ogeron. Ed coached at Nicholls 1 year. Who takes his place? John Robinson. Then he becomes the linebackers coach, and I got a phone call one day. And he says, hey, guess what? He said, I just got a new job. I said, okay, where are you coaching? He said, I'm not. I said, what do you mean? He said, no. He says, I'm taking a position. I'll be a regional scout for the New England Patriots. And so John left Nicholls, became a regional scout for the Patriots, went through that run with them early 2000s, got a nice little bump up and went to Tampa Bay and became their director of college scouting there. And all of a sudden I see he's up for the general manager's job with the Tennessee Titans. And so I contacted him, and he told me, hey, listen, the interview went well. I don't know what's going to be. He had no idea I was working for the Titans radio network. So when he found out, he was like, okay. He's like, how did you get this? Come on, you got to explain to me. I said, man, listen, how did I get many of them? I mean, it's just unreal. But sometimes being in the right place, right time help. And so it goes to show you, when he told me this a couple of weeks back, he said, I really believe we're going to get a deal done. I was surprised. Adam Schefter a couple of days ago wrote that it doesn't look good. That's not what Rob had told me. That's not what Coach had told me at that point. And so, yesterday had duties to do, and I look on my cell, sure enough, coming to a deal. Exactly what he had told me. I think it'll be a late-hour deal, but we're going to get it done. We're going to get it done with Derrick. It's good for us. It's good for him. Sure enough, he got it done. And if I'm Kamara and I'm Cook, I see that. That's exactly what I go for. It's the exact same thing.
Do you think the Saints will give him 12-5?
I think it'll be in that zip code.
For
what he is for this team. And, running back, because that's the first thing somebody throws out at you that don't see the structure. Oh, well, running backs, a dime a dozen. How many of them can catch the ball like Kamara can? What's the one thing a year ago, because he came to one of our camps, first thing he tells me, I'm tired of hearing you telling me I can't catch the ball. Watch what I do this year. Leonard Fournette. Look at Leonard's numbers last year in comparison to other years of him catching the ball. Look at what he did as a receiver coming out of the backfield.
All right, I'm looking it up right now because I don't remember.
There wasn't many guys at running back that caught more. I think it was maybe 4. So, what you see here is those guys know to be that all-purpose player. Man, listen, I want to catch the ball.
He went from 36 catches as a rookie, 22 in year 2 to 76 last year.
Yeah, that's just a tad more. Come on, Leonard knew exactly what somebody was going to throw at him.
Right.
Oh, well, you're not involved in the passing game. Oh, yeah? Well, look what I did. Now, Leonard's in a tough spot.
Yeah.
Because, man, on that team, fortunately, he's got DJ to kind of get some of the defenses off the line of scrimmage. But, if I'm playing Jacksonville, what I do, I'm going to crowd the line of scrimmage. I'm going to stop Fournette, and I'm saying, if you're going to beat me with Gardner Minshew, go ahead. But this may take a while.
Mike Detillier is with us. Mike, let me knock out a break. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Sazerac Rye is our proud presenting sponsor of our hour with Mike Detillier. Check him out. The New Orleans original Sazerac Rye. We'll knock out a break, come back. We'll switch gears from the black and gold to the purple and gold. It's watch list week around college football. And a couple of interesting, maybe perceived snubs. No Miles Brennan, no LSU running back on the Doak Walker watch list. We'll talk to Mike a little bit about that and what to expect from some of LSU's skill guys when we come back on AFR.
AFR.
If you're looking for dinner plans, Ichiban always has you covered. Essen near Perkins, Airline Highway in Gonzales. Make tonight an Ichiban night. Remember, Ichiban is always a great spot for lunch as well. But starting your week off or weekend off early on Thursday, man, knock off of work, head on over to Ichiban, belly up to the bar, order yourself a specialty cocktail, an ice cold draft beer, maybe a glass of wine from their floor-to-ceiling transparent wine cellar. Of course, they got that slab of ice that runs the length of the bar at the Essen location. So if you order a draft beer or a cocktail, instead of setting your glass on the bar top or on a napkin, you set it on that ice slab so it maintains that cold temperature from first sip to last. It's at Ichiban. It is a dining experience when you're at Ichiban. And oh, by the way, they do have the best sushi and best hibachi and the best of 225 awards. Not me saying it, you saying it in the best of 225 awards. Essen near Perkins, Airline Highway in Gonzales. Make tonight an Ichiban night.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Hey T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Our weekly Talk with Mike Detillier is brought to you by the one and only New Orleans original, Cesarac Rye Whiskey.
All right, we continue with Mike Detillier on Twitter at Mike Detillier. Be sure you check him out at Saints News Network over at SI.com. Great series that Mike's got going on about how New Orleans got its professional sports franchise. If you're not checking that out, make sure you do at the Saints News Network. Mike D, let's switch gears from Saints, talk some LSU here in this segment. This is watch list week. And so position by position, they start to release all the watch lists. And let's be real. We know that this ain't worth anything at this point except for having conversation about it. But I was interested that Miles Brennan was not on the Davey O'Brien list and that none of the LSU running backs were among the 76 Doak Walker Award watch list members when some running backs, Mike, who were on the list had half the stats that a guy like Ty Davis Price did a year ago. I want to talk expectations within the LSU offense for this season. Let's start under center with Miles Brennan. We haven't seen him play, Mike, not significantly anyway. So what is realistic for Brennan in this offense?
It's going to be similar, but one of the things that Steve has talked about a lot is you got to play to the strength of the quarterback. You got to play to his strengths. And some of that's a little bit differently done than how Joe was. The biggest question mark I have for me is third down plays, critical plays. How does Miles handle it? How does he handle that? What I call pressure throws.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily people in his face, but I'm talking about I got to make this throw. I got to keep the drive alive. How well he handles those sort of situations. He's immensely gifted. He's got a stronger arm than Joe Burrow, but again, that doesn't tell you the whole story. It's about decision making and playing big in the biggest games. What we're going to remember Joe Burrow for was playing big in the biggest games. If it was against Texas, Florida, Alabama, Clemson, what he did against Oklahoma, I mean, they should have arrested him. I mean, it was lethal of what he was doing against them in that particular game. The Georgia game in the SEC championship, we remember the Fiesta Bowl, against Central Florida. And so you remember those moments with Joe. And Miles has got to now create those moments for himself. You can't say that he's going to do the exact same thing Joe did because they're two different type football players. But, man, he's got a lot of talent at wide receiver. He's got, from everything I hear, man, this Eric Gilbert is sort of a tilt-the-field type player.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a tremendous backfield. Now, which one emerges? Last year at this time, was Clyde on that list for running backs?
Mike, I'd have to go back and check because I really honestly don't remember. But he might have been, Mike, because of the major game he had against Georgia in 2018.
But no one was talking about Clyde being the guy.
No doubt.
Because all I heard, even
Emory.
early into the season, was, man, we need to see more of John Emory.
Yep,
We need
Emory.
to see more of Tyrann Davis-Price. I got to the point, I hated to look at myself because you would get these messages over and over, and for the same dudes. My thing is, what did you want Clyde to do? Now, listen, after probably game 4, it stopped. Oh, and the same thing on talk shows. No matter what you did, man, somebody wanted, we need to see more of the freshman running backs. Really? There is a reason Clyde's in that game. He was your best pass protector in the backfield, and also, too, as a receiver. He was unbelievable.
By the way, Mike, he was not on the Doak Walker list last year.
Okay, so that tells you the whole story about the list is useless.
Right.
Here's the most useless list. The Joe Moore Award. Would you have put LSU's offensive line on that Joe Moore preseason list? No way. You're not putting that on there. And so it does go to show you and how well, and I think it's the maturity, and that Ed has went out and gotten coaches that has been able to squeeze all the vitamin C they can out the orange. And listen, that's what coaching's about. Getting the very most out of your player. No one a year ago called your show or any show I did and said, Clyde Edwards-Helaire is going to be a star, and he's going to be a first-round pick. Not even the most ardent LSU fan would have said that. And, would somebody call in and say, man, listen, LSU's offensive line is going to be the best in the country. They're going to win the Joe Moore Award. Come on. You didn't hear that. So you saw how well they were coached and how well they played together, and coaching still matters in this world, still does. So I don't it's hard to answer about Miles because we haven't seen him as the guy. But it's all going to come down to how well he can convert third down plays, pressure, and how big he plays in the biggest games. Because fair or unfair, that's how – don't we look at Tom Brady a certain way because of what he's done in the biggest games?
Sure.
Don't we look at what, growing up as a kid, what I saw Terry Bradshaw do, 4 Super Bowls. What Staubach, even though I wasn't a Cowboy fan and never will be. But Staubach winning those games, what we saw Aikman do later on, what Montana did, what Elway did. We remember those big games and then being able to make the plays in critical spots. So these watch lists is great to talk about, but a year ago, LSU wasn't on that Joe Moore list. Clyde wasn't on the right backs list. And so, with Joe, I think you had a little bit on the resume with him. And I think most people who watched LSU saw he had sort of changed the way the quarterback position was, even in that 1 year. And I think it's difficult what he did. And, I hear one of the national announcers bash him about he had a bad year. Bad year? You mean the same guy that took you to 7 overtimes against Texas A&M? He had a bad game against – I didn't think he played well against Florida, and nobody played well against Alabama. But you look at it, his offensive line didn't protect him well 2 years ago, and the receiving corps at certain times let him down too. First thing Joe Brady told me, Mike, I'm getting into that game, and they are going to catch 500 passes a day. I don't care if I got to throw every one of them. We got to get that down because we cannot have drives missed because of receivers dropping the football. It was a rarity to see LSU drop the football a year ago. But 2 years ago it was a different story. And so it's an interesting ride for LSU where I think a year ago we were talking about, they had some young backs, young receivers, how well they mature. But their offensive line looked to be that it was going to be improved because you had some people coming back. Mm-hmm. That's the biggest question mark this year is going to be along the offensive line. And I felt that it would be better because I knew one thing. Lloyd Cushenberry was the center. Man, and he is one of the most underrated players for what that team did a year ago. And handling things up front, a new offense, everything that was rared up, and you rarely saw pressure that he was getting beat in the middle. And so now the question mark is, what's going to happen to the other positions? We do know, a lot about Austin. We've seen Ed Ingram. How well the center position kind of works out. And that's where, as we talked about a couple weeks ago and talked about even last week with Liam. Here you have a guy that may be the right guy for 2020. A big, smart, really good technician, and he may have found his spot. It wasn't going to be at guard. If you look how he's built, he's either going to be a center or a right tackle. It was going to be one of the two. He may have found his spot. I talked to Steve Court. In fact, it was an article that I wrote last weekend about this transition. And he said, what was the hardest thing for me? He said, I had never played center in high school in Colorado. I go to Arkansas, they recruited me as a defensive tackle. So he said, that was a guy in front of me that was pretty good. His name was Dan Hampton.
Right.
And so Steve was, the deal is, you got to play offensive. He became an All-American offensive guard. The Saints pick him. Bum says, you know what? Too many 3-4 teams, Steve. We got to move you to center. They had an older center in John Hill, who was a good technician, but he was small, on the smaller side. And Steve said, Mike, I could not get the center to quarterback exchange when he had his hands under me, right? I was coming off the ball so quickly and so fast, it didn't work. I could get the deep snap down, but he said the under center, I couldn't get it. And they had Kenny Stabler there. And, Snake had worked with a few centers before. And he said, I was so frustrated. I thought they were going to cut me. And he said, finally, one day in practice, he said, man, I messed up the first couple snaps. And Snake said, give me that ball. They called him Jumbo. Jumbo, give me that ball. And he said, Snake took it, and he heaved it about 35 yards out of bounds. He said, I know what's your problem, Steve. He said, that's a right-handed ball, and I'm a left-handed quarterback. Now, listen, you got to know, Snake, that sounded about right. And he said, you know what? He calmed me down. And he said, listen, I'm just going to ride you a little bit more and wait till I can secure it. And he said, I never had an issue afterwards with it. It was just an adjustment that Snake had to kind of stay with him a little bit longer. And he said, when I had Bobby, when I had Dave Wilson, We both sort of talked about how I would snap, and we got it down. But he said that was a huge adjustment for him. But he said it's not what you might have thought. You might have thought it wouldn't have been the deep snap. He said, I got that down pretty quickly, under center. Now, LSU doesn't do much of that anyway. So here's my thing. If Liam has got that down, and smart as he is to make all those calls, he may have found himself the guy. And if that's the case, I feel much better about the offensive line.
No doubt. They get much deeper at guard, too, if that's the case. Mike, let me knock out a quick break. We'll come back. I want to flip back to the NFL because there was some other pretty significant contract news. Myles Garrett, what does that potentially mean for Cam Jordan with the deal he got? I mean, it's kind of was crunch time for NFL teams to make those deals with their guys on franchise tenders. Dak did not get extended. We'll delve into some of that. More NFL talk with Mike Detillier when we come back. Glad you're hanging out with us here on a Thursday edition of AFR. Chats with Mike are brought to you by Sazerac Rye. Pick it up wherever you buy your spirits. This is AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. They're online at lainsurance.net. They're open for another 29 minutes. They're open till 5 o'clock weekdays. So check out our friends over at Insurance Network of Louisiana. You can give them a buzz at 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net. I love sharing testimonials. AFR listener named Robert had been with Liberty Mutual for a few years, had some good coverage, was overpaying. They switched his home and auto, saved him $4,007 annually. What could you do with an extra 4 G's in your pocket that you don't have to give to your insurance company? Are you overpaying? Do you know? Let Insurance Network of Louisiana find out. Maybe you could be like Robert. Maybe it's just getting you properly insured. Either way, let Insurance Network of Louisiana shop for free to see if they can get you better coverage for less money. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank, invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Our weekly talk with Mike Detillier is brought to you by the one and only New Orleans original, Cesarac Rye Whiskey.
All right, we are rolling along with Mike Detillier. Your questions for Mike a little more than 10 minutes from right now, so you can line them up. You can email Matt at 1045ESPN.com, tweet me at Matt Moscona at 1045ESPN. You can jump in the YouTube chat. Go to the 1045 ESPN YouTube channel. You can watch live there. You get your questions in there as well. All right, Mike, we'll get to questions in the next segment. Let's jump into some of these really the major NFL contract news was Myles Garrett and Dak Prescott. Let's start with Myles Garrett with incredible deal, $125 million. What was your reaction when you saw the deal?
Yeah, I just had a feeling it would be in that category. I'd heard from an agent friend of mine that they were working on it. And so do you want to be judged by your worst moment in your career? And we all saw it, national TV and Myles losing control at that point. But, man, he's one heck of a football player. And did we, you heard – maybe he wasn't this guy that gives you 100% on every snap. I don't know too many big men that do. I mean, there's a little bit of variance with that point. But, boy, he is really good, and he is becoming a rarity. No, he's becoming that position when you can excel is you become the unicorn because there's not a lot of guys at his age that can do what he can do. And so, man, listen, I got to pay him. And he's a special talent. Again, I'm not trying to kind of, sugarcoat what happened at the end with him. And he paid the price for it. He got suspended. But all of us in any profession, we've done something, and we go back and say, what was I doing, at that point in time? Myles is a super talented edge rusher. Name me another guy in this league that can do what he can do.
I mean, the one who might be in that category eventually, Daniil Hunter?
He might be.
Might get there.
Certainly
Certainly a great start.
And so, okay, so you can name one.
Right, but the point remains, right.
The point remains is guys in their early to mid-20s, there's not a lot of them. That's why, I've suggested to some of the older defensive linemen, listen, you're thinking about retiring, you might want to stay. Man, ain't nobody beating you out. Ain't nobody beating you out of that deal. So, okay, there's the Hunters of the world, and there's Myles Garrett, but and then you start to think about it, and Jacksonville's got a guy that I think is a really good pass rusher. He's not so great against the run because – his intention is to get in the backfield and rush the quarterback. So if I see him out there, I run the ball. That's what the Saints did. They sort of ran the football at Yannick a little bit when they played him. So it's he's a rarity. And, again, coming out of college, how many guys – I mean, other than the Bosa's,
Yeah.
That's about it. So it's almost like the Manning family. Well, you got the Bosa family at defensive end. Eventually those guys are going to cash in too. But the list is so few and far between. And so, to me, I don't have an issue with it. And I think he's a big-time player at a position that is now becoming the hardest to find as a standout player in college and pro football.
Did the Saints give a big exhale by extending Cam Jordan last year and not?
You better believe it.
Right, no doubt.
Man, because, you look at it, Cam's the complete player. Cam was not a noted pass rusher coming out of Cal. He was what you would call a good pass rusher, but he was really good against the run. In his first year, numbers there was small as a pass, and now he's developed this repertoire by working hard and working at his game and moves and counter moves, where now he's one of the best pass rushers in pro football. But he's also one of the elite against the run. That's where it's hard, Matt, to find a guy that can rush the quarterback but also can play the run well. Those guys are really limited, and Cam's one of them. So, yeah, they made a pretty good deal with Cam because of his talents, not only in his ability to affect the quarterback and pressure, but also his play against the run is stellar. It's at the highest level, and you can make a pretty good argument. He is the most complete defensive end in pro football today. It's not like, say, with Aaron Donald, where I think it's clear cut. He's the best interior player. And when you look at it, the other guy we didn't talk about, but Chris Jones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Since he entered the league in 2016, there's only one guy that has had more quarterback sacks than Chris Jones as an interior player. Aaron Donald. Okay, now Chris, he's one of those guys that, depending on game to game, his play against the run varies. But boy, can he rush the quarterback, and he's a straight line shot, and he's very effective. So you can see now, it's just not the quarterbacks and the receivers and the DBs getting paid. Man, those defensive linemen, it's a rare position to find, especially an edge guy like a Cam Jordan, like a Myles Garrett, like the Bosa's. That's why they get picked where they get picked, because they so good. And when you look at it, man, if you can play the run pretty well, you're going to get paid. You got a lot of zeros behind them checks.
4 years, $85 million for Chris Jones. Dak Prescott, though, did not get his extension.
No,
he'll play this year under the tag. So no surprise, you say, Mike, but what does that mean for Dak short and long? Well, short obviously means he'll play this year under the tag, but what does that mean for Dak and his future in Dallas?
I think he's gone.
Okay, wow.
I think he's gone after this year. You wonder a little bit because of the relationship. Jerry has always talked up Dak. It looked as though they were very close to a deal a couple times, and then at the end, there was something added or taken away. They wanted to shorten the years, and they wanted more upfront money. And the one thing, because I deal with one, when you get people a certain age and you whiz them off, they're gonna take that to their grave. They're never gonna put that aside. Never gonna put that aside. And Jerry's the type of guy that I think felt as though he had a deal in place with Dak, not only once, but twice. And then you messed with him. So you messed with the multi-billionaire owner. Okay, and he's at a certain age, and I'm not real happy about it. You embarrassed me. Because you know what? I turn on TV, and guess what they're talking about? They're talking about me, and it ain't in a positive manner. And when you mess with them, it's difficult to repair. I'm not saying it's 100%, but Dak and his group would have to make amends on this part. And I think he's elsewhere. And when you look across the league, Indianapolis would seemingly be a spot. Phillip Rivers getting up in age. He's got that 1 year. Jacoby Brissett is there. What Jacoby's on the books for, like 20, 21 million. Phillip, 23, 24. And, the Colts, that payroll, I could afford to pay Dak.
Yeah.
In a manner that he wants to get paid. It would make a lot of sense there. And I just think for Jerry that you got him upset. And when you get to a certain age, it's hard to rebuild the fence that you burned.
Yeah. Mike, one thing's for certain. Next year's quarterback carousel, Dak, Jameis, Cam potentially, it's going to be really, really interesting next year.
And
how all that spins.
I'll throw you another one.
Okay.
I think Matt Stafford becomes available.
Wow. I mean, At this point, Mike, I'd believe damn well anything at this point, man. With the way 2020's gone, Mike, if you told me they were going to play on the moon next year, I might believe you. Mike, let me knock out our final break. We'll come back and get your questions for Mike Detillier. You know the drill. Line them up. Get involved. Ask Mike your question. We'll get to it next to wrap up Hour 2 on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers, Nicholson, and Bluebonnet. Dine in or carry out. Great for lunch. Great spot for dinner. Thursday is all you can eat boneless wings. So if you want to get out and have dinner tonight, eat great, eat a lot, eat affordably, you can do it Thursday night at Pluckers. All you can eat boneless wings. Remember, if you're having any type of a get-together, Pluckers catering trays are a great option. We got Drew's birthday party this weekend, and we have some family over. The easiest thing to do is get a Pluckers catering tray. You get either the traditional wings, or if you want boneless wings, you can get them grilled or naked, tossed in your favorite wing sauce, all the dippings. They got all the dips. They got all your sides as well. You want a pan of grilled chicken salad or a pan of the holy macaroni, whatever it is. Like, they can do that for you in quantities. So if you need to feed a group, you can do it easily and affordably from Pluckers. Nicholson, just south of campus. Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Sports are returning. You need a place to watch. You can get by Pluckers, dine in or carry out at Pluckers, where if you don't like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Here at Corval Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Divorce is hard. Divorce is messy. Divorce is exhausting. The law offices of O.C. Brown walked me through my divorce and helped me find the right solution for me, my kids, my finances, and my property. Call the law offices of O.C. Brown, your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens, make not thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In and eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Prompt, professional, reliable. If you're looking for a breath of fresh air with your AC and heating needs, call the professionals at Anison Bitter. Anison Bitter, a Rheem Pro partner, keeping your family comfortable for over 25 years.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Our weekly talk with Mike Detillier is brought to you by the one and only New Orleans original, Cesarac Rye Whiskey.
All right, final segment with Mike D. As always, we appreciate our friends at Sazerac Rye. If it's in a cocktail, if you want a Manhattan, an old-fashioned Sazerac cocktail, pour it over rocks. It is a fantastic, versatile spirit, and it's affordable as well. Sazerac Rye, bringing us our chats every week with Mike Detillier. All right, Mike D., let's get to questions. Yes, sir. I thought you were inhaling because you had a comment or something I messed up.
No. I had a little chuckle about that old fashioned. It reminded me of on Sanford and Son one time. Lamont brought Fred out for a drink, and the bartender asked him if he wanted an old fashioned. He told him, "How'd you like one across the lips?" Fred didn't quite get it, but it just sort of popped in my head.
I got you, Mike D. Anytime you got those, man, blurt them out. I'm good with it. Hey. How about this one, Mike? Ask Mike. How about this one right out of the chute? Ask Mike. Dak to the Saints in 2021 if Breeze retires?
I doubt that. I doubt it. I mean, the Saints, the payroll and what it would cost you financially would be huge. Would be huge. And I know Sean likes Dak a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But, if he's asking for what, supposedly is being said, how do you do the other contracts? So it's a great question, but I would say it's a long shot.
Josh Higgins on YouTube asked Mike, do you think Coach O and Bo Pelini will work well together in game?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And Ed would give suggestions sometimes to Dave, but Dave really ran the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Dave really ran that. And so I think him and Bo almost on a little bit better wavelength for what they want to do with the talent at hand. And so I think it'll work seamless.
Ask Mike, thoughts on LSU wide receiver, it says signing, but commitment, Chris Hilton from Zachary.
Well, I made this comment before. He reminds me so much of Devontae Smith coming out of a MEAC.
That's a good comp.
Now, if you look at how they built and what they could do, it's similar. And Devontae was he was a sort of a soft-spoken guy, didn't say too much or nothing. And Hilton's the same way too. And we all remember him, man, on that little short pass. And he runs through the entire West Monroe defense.
Mm-hmm.
And, in his little thing, he sort of patted the back. I was not that far away, and he sort of pats the matting in the back, walks off.
Yep.
And you look at Devontae Smith, and he is the type of guy that can blow the top off of coverage, but also he's really good at catching that little screen pass, and then, man, he maneuvers, and he's up the field. So the comp would be Devontae Smith. He's very similar in how he's built, his foot speed, and what he does really well. And so that's who I would comp him as, and that's a pretty good comp.
Mike, we're looking at the play against West Monroe right now. Of course, the game was broadcast on CST, and there's the little pad on the
Yep. I was on the other side, and I could see just a little pop, pop, and he was off.
What a play!
You want it.
I mean, sophomore in high school for that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was a remarkable play. That with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter of the state championship game, and you house one from 75 on a little slip screen. Let's see, Mike. We got 2 minutes left. Ask Mike, other next big prospect from the Bayou region other than Mason Smith.
As a young man at Thibodeau High School, big baby. He's a sophomore. Ed Ogeron offered him in the 9th grade. He's 6'2", 260 pounds. Next time you get Turk on, Ernest Harvey, he's working at Camp Mula. He's built a little bit differently than Mason. Right off the bat, when I saw him and how quick he is with his feet, first thing that popped in my mind, Henry Thomas.
Okay.
That's who he reminds me of, Henry Thomas. And so, man, he is special. He's a special football player and a big man, and he's going to play defensive tackle. But I would say right now he's 6'2", in that 255, 260 range. And, he sort of tilts it a little bit. He's a big-time player, and you haven't heard a lot about him, but you will. And here's a guy that 14, 15 years old, and junior's out there with a scholarship offer. So it goes to show you, man, he spotted that real quick. No, he's he's a big-time talent here, and I think you'll see him blossom similar to what Mason did when he was a 10th grader. Because when I first wrote that article on Mason, man, I had people from all these other sites. Man, who's Mason Smith? Well, we don't have him. Yeah, they ain't asking. Now they act like they Columbus and they found America. I mean, I ain't kidding you. No, first time I saw him play was, man, I haven't seen too many guys in this part of the woods that can run and move like what Mason Smith can. And Big Baby is built differently. But, man, he is some skilled, and he's a really good technician at this stage of his career.
Mike, you're the best as always, man. We appreciate you. We'll do it again next week.
All right, brother. Thank you.
That is Mike Detillier on Twitter, at Mike Detillier, SaintsReport.com, MikeDetillier.com. Our chats are brought to you by Sazerac Rye. Hour 3 starts with Terrence Alexander next.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center, WilliamsonEye.com, WilliamsonEye.com. If you have ever thought or dreamed of living your life without contacts or glasses, if you're tired of taking your glasses off at night or your contacts out at night, put the glasses in, or keeping up with that prescription, maybe you sleep with those contacts in, they're like stuck to your eye. Don't do that. Yeah, I did that for a long time. Don't do that. If you want to be able to see street signs at night, see your TV, see the alarm clock in the middle of the night when you wake up, you don't have to fumble around if you got to get up and go to the bathroom, be able to swim without having to worry about your contacts popping out, travel without having to worry, did you pack solution, did you pack an extra pair? Like, there's a way. Williamson Eye Center, they can make it happen for you. They did it for me. Had my LASIK done 2 years ago, and I'm still seeing better than 2020. WilliamsonEye.com. Go for that free consultation. 924-2020. 924-2020. Or online, WilliamsonEye.com.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger.
If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Our big New Year sale is going on now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, and you can get $23.50 off MSRP on a 20 RAV4 XLE or lease a 20 RAV4 LE for $269 a month. Come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months.
Callahan Injury Lawyers.
Hour number 3 of After Further Review coming your way in less than 60 seconds. Quick update before that, though. Zion has left the bubble. Zion Williamson left the club today to attend to an urgent family medical matter. Pelicans say Williamson intends to rejoin the team in the Orlando area for the resumption of the season, but the club did not specify when. He will have to quarantine again when he returns to Central Florida. That quarantine period will last a minimum of 4 days. Ross Dellinger is reporting that SI has obtained a draft of the Power Five's document detailing minimum standards for COVID-19 testing and response protocols. A few of the highlights from those minimum standards include once-a-week testing for the players, a 10-day isolation after following a positive case, and a mandatory 14-day quarantine for contacts. Hour number 3 of AFR is coming your way right now.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After Further Review.
Say it one more time.
After Further Review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
Let's ride.
Off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
And the Brain. We're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one, folks. Excited about this. One of the conversations that I've been wanting to have for several weeks now, especially in light of what's happening currently and all the possibilities around college football, is with former LSU Tiger Terrence Alexander. Many know his story. Went to John Curtis, 4 years at Stanford, played as a grad transfer at LSU, and with all of the uncertainty, SEC, Pac-12, transfers who have made a move and aren't going to have a full offseason, there's so many questions, and I think Terrence's experience make him uniquely qualified to answer a lot of them. So I'm excited to welcome Terrence Alexander, former LSU Tiger, here onto After Further Review. Terrence, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me on.
Man, it's my pleasure. We really appreciate you making it work here. When you first saw the Pac-12's decision to go conference only, having played in that league, what was your reaction when you saw that?
I mean, look here. I mean, this situation is hard for everyone, for every conference, but I just applaud them for keep trying to play ball. It's hard, going from them. It's hard going to be hard for them to travel anywhere and play, especially with this corona. I don't know how they're going to do anything because teams going to have to quarantine, and I think this is the best scenario just to keep playing and play ball.
Would you feel safe if you were a college athlete that the protocols were in place that they give you the best chance to stay safe and play?
I would feel safe if the team takes the right precaution. I think it's very much so a way you can get out here and play if the teams take the right precaution. But, every team is different. They're going to have different sanctions, different things they can play with, different budgets. So it's going to be hard to get every team on the same accord. But they can do it if they're on the same accord. But it's tough budgeting these things with all these different states. Every state has to comply with new rules, so they're working with what they can. And that's why I think working with the least states as possible makes it easier to actually get something going.
So, Terrence, you obviously played at Stanford and you played at LSU. You played in the Pac-12, you played in the SEC. And both right now are taking what appears to be very different tacks, right? The Pac-12 and the Big Ten have announced conference only. But the SEC looks like they're trying to play a full schedule with fans, whatever that means, however that looks, as you said, like based state to state, whatever's possible. Like NASCAR had an event last night with fans. Like playing in both conferences, how would you describe the differences or the approach or how both are arriving at these different decisions?
Well, if you ask me, honestly, a big thing would be the budget. I feel as though many of the schools in the SEC may have bigger budgets to precaution better than some schools in the Pac-12. You know, the Pac-12 is going to do great, and they're going to plan out and have a great plan to get their agenda moving and to get the players out there. But honestly, the SEC just has so much more funding. In my opinion, that they'll be able to get a lot more going faster than some teams. But also, this is my opinion. I'm not 100% sure.
No, so it makes sense though. But something like, for example, like testing, right? If you're trying to test the whole team multiple times a week, like that's something that you're saying like maybe you think might be more realistic at Alabama than it would at Oregon State or something like that.
Oh, no, I think all teams could get it done. Don't get me wrong.
Okay.
I'm just saying over time it's going to be hard to continue this because you're not going to know the outlook of the season going forward with these new phases.
Yeah.
You went from phase 2 to phase 1 within a matter of days. And with that saying, I'm just saying it'll be easier for a school like Bama because, come on, they have a bigger budget. It's not a no-brainer here. Or LSU, doing great things.
Right.
So
Terrence
I think LSU get it done.
Terrence Alexander is our guest. Played at Stanford, of course. Curtis guy played at Stanford, and then of course at LSU for his grad transfer. You follow him on Twitter at Terrence_9. What about the guys who are grad transfers? I don't know if you're familiar, but LSU's got two guys. You came in as one of three with Joe and with Cole Tracy, but LSU's got two this year: an offensive lineman, Liam Shanahan, and a linebacker in Jabril Cox. Now those guys are on campus, but they're not going to have the benefit of a spring or a full off season. So how might that transition be for them without all of that time?
Oh, the transition is tough. Don't get me wrong. But the thing is that as a graduate, they understand that you can handle the transition no matter how tough it is. Because for me, I graduated Stanford on June 15th. I got down to LSU on the 17th, and I was working out on the 18th. You know what I mean? So it's like a fast turnaround. You don't have much time, but with the opportunity that's present like to any senior, they understand, and so they're gonna take it on and run full course with it. So it's a grind. Don't get me wrong, but if you're right for the job, it's worth it.
Was there a point in the season or even in the preseason where you felt comfortable? Like where things kind of, people like athletes always talk about like it slowed down, right? Like I was comfortable in the pace just slowed. Was there a point in that senior year that you remember feeling like, okay, I'm comfortable now?
Yeah, I would say it took longer for me, definitely. I'd say around week 7, I understand and felt comfortable, with the new situation, the new team, everything. But we're building for it. It's a great environment. It's not like things have to slow down for you. It's just everything is so fun. Everything is such a family. You're just having so much fun enjoying the experience that it's fine to work your way into it. If you don't, you have to work though, but it's all fine for me.
When you were watching Joe Burrow in 2018, could you have possibly foreseen what happened in 2019?
I mean, yeah, it was just a matter of time, in my opinion. He put the work in, and he was real confident. And the way those receivers and the offense started to click, I knew it was just a matter of time. And especially seeing those young receivers as freshmen, working with those guys every day. I mean, y'all see a lot of good things during the game, but it really is the real plays that happen at practice, And so I've seen those players make those great plays umpteen times. So it was a no-brainer for me that they can get it done.
Do you have a story or something you remember from a practice in 2018 or something where, like, you still recall somebody was chased or somebody, like, doing something amazing that you just, like, shook your head?
I mean, like I say, it's so many plays, not any one. It's just you get accustomed to seeing great players make great plays, like, over and over. So, and that's what builds the team and confidence, really, because we just see this over and over. The greatness just becomes a habit. You come to the point of you're going to step up and be greater, you're not.
Well, the 2018 team got, of course, to the college football, into the Access Bowls there in the college football playoff, winning the Fiesta Bowl, set the stage for 2019. You weren't on the 2019 team, but what was it like for you as a guy who played with many of those guys to watch that season last year?
It was great to see those guys because, like I said before, it was just seeing the work that Coach O and the staff has put in and just knowing what their vision would be, and that if everyone bought into the vision, that it could happen. Because they was preaching to us what the goal was, and they hit it right on the nail. Like, everyone knew that this was what we was going for, and they got it done.
Hey, before you go, fill everybody in, man. I know, so you left LSU, you signed with Minnesota. What's next for you in your career?
Yeah, so right now I just signed with Winnipeg. I'm out in the CFL. They just won the Grey Cup in Canada, so I'm going to do that. And before Corona, unfortunately, I was playing with the Guardians in the XFL.
Mm-hmm.
You know, before that, I was with the Vikings too. But now I've just been working on getting back to CFL right now, getting this training in and working on my web development and things of that nature. So I'm doing a little bit of everything right now, but it's been fun. It's been fun.
I hear you, man. What's the deal with it? Because we're just not up to speed with the CFL season. How is that targeting as far as a potential on-time start and everything that's happening in Canada?
Well, right now the target is September, so we're trying to see what's going to happen.
Okay.
But I'm excited going forward. It should be a goal. You know, we have to see what's up with this U.S. travel ban with Canada, but all these central travel will be a go, so we should be fine.
Terrence Alexander, former LSU Tiger. Y'all follow him on Twitter at Terrence_9. And certainly we'll be keeping an eye, man, whenever the CFL season gets started, man. Thanks for the time today. All the best, man. We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Also follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
NOXTEE11.
N-O-
Thanks for having me on.
NOXTEE. Say it again.
NOXTEE11.
11. So NOXTEE11. NOXTEE11. Y'all follow Terrence on Instagram as well. Hey, man, appreciate a couple of minutes. All right, be well. All the best.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You do the very same, man. We'll keep in touch. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad to have you hanging out with us here. We'll knock out a quick break. Former Tiger to the current Tigers. Doak Walker Award watch list is out. Talked a little bit about this with Mike D, but I want to get some thoughts on there not being an LSU Tiger on that list, and some great news for two former baseball Tigers I got to share with you when we come back. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. As we've said so many times, we're amid completely unprecedented times in our lifetime, but our friends at the Baton Rouge General Hospital are doing a remarkable job of finding the best ways to keep our community safe and to stay in touch with all of you and to get you the information you need. If you go to the website, brgeneral.org, COVID-19 information right there on the yellow bar at the top. They got virtual visits available. If you're not comfortable getting out of the house or you're staying at home, virtual visits with your physician are available. They've reopened the emergency room at the Mid-City location. They've even opened the Ascension Neighborhood Hospital as well. No waiting rooms, online check-in. That's coming soon, so we'll tell you more about that as we get closer to that, as that's getting set to open. The point is, the Baton Rouge General Hospital continues to expand the ways to make health care fit for you. brgeneral.org. Learn more. brgeneral.org.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
To all of our heroes working on the front lines of this COVID-19 pandemic, your bravery and selflessness represent the very best of us, and we want to say thank you. I'm asking everyone around the state to join me in celebrating the heroism of our healthcare professionals on the 19th of every month at 1900 hours, that's 7 p.m. Write a note of appreciation, make plans to donate to charitable organizations, or say a prayer. To learn more, visit 19thanks.org. Thank you, and God bless.
Our big New Year sale is going on now at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, and you can get $3,200 off MSRP on a 20 Tacoma TRD or lease a 2020 Tacoma Special Edition for $209 a month. Come on down to have.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, I want to talk about the Doak Walker Award watch list, which came out yesterday, and then the Bolitnikoff came out today. I want to get to that in a second. And in 14 minutes, I'm excited about this. A personal friend and a guy who's been a friend of the show for many, many years, Mark Grant, who is a Baton Rouge native, an LSU alum, in the last 22 years has been a director for the NFL on CBS. And Mark worked on a project with CBS that is going to air on Saturday, and it's something that's very personal to him. It's the 846 campaign. And we'll tell you about it with Mark Grant coming up here in about 13 minutes from right now. I'm looking forward to that. A couple of things about former Tigers real quick. One, congrats to Zach Mettenberger. Former LSU quarterback Zach Mettenberger is now a coach. Zach Mettenberger has been named the offensive coordinator at Hillsborough High School in Nashville, Tennessee. So if you're scoring at home, Zach Mettenberger is a high school offensive coordinator, and John Chavis is a middle school assistant. It's so good. You were thinking the same thing. Brian says it's so red. Oh man, do you think that when Chavis and Mettenberger, if they were like butting heads at practice, what would that have been, 2013? That Zach was like, yeah, just wait. 7 years from now, you're going to be coaching middle school, and I'm going to be a high school OC, chump. Take that.
My first thought was, could they go head-to-head? But then I realized, no, it's high school versus middle school.
Oh, that would be so good, because Chavis is coaching in the middle school league, but the middle school team that represents this high school. So I guess maybe it's like a K through 12 type school.
The road to Tennessee high school football runs through Baton Rouge.
You imagine the pregame meeting on the field with Mettenberger and Chief wearing their high school colors? It's so good. I want that to happen so bad. Can we buy out some officials or something just to make that happen? Please happen. But congrats to Mettenberger. Also, how about, man, I'm so fired up. Zach Hess and Alex Lang, both guys beneficiary of the Major League Baseball's 60-man roster. So both Zach Hess and Alex Lang have been added to the Detroit Tigers 60-man roster. It's just coincidental that both guys played at LSU, but this is amazing news that both Hess and Lang have been added. So it means both guys now will have a chance to pitch in the show this year. An unorthodox season, and obviously how it's happened, but Zach Hess has kind of been a really well-known pitching prospect since he was 16, since 2016. Of course, showed up at LSU, had the monster 2017 freshman season, and never really found his groove. But they think in the bullpen it may work out really well. And then same with Lang. Lang was a first-round draft pick of the Cubs. He was kind of up and down as a starter. He gets moved to Detroit, and they immediately put him in the bullpen. And apparently this has paid off, letting him be sort of that max effort guy that we've always talked about with Alex Lang. But, I mean, the benefit is that both guys, for what has been a bad team, struggling organization, a bad team, but the Detroit Tigers are going to get their chance very likely to lay eyes on two of their better relief pitching prospects to see how they fare against high-caliber competition. I mean, to this point, Lang hasn't pitched beyond Double-A. So there's a chance for both guys, because of the 60-man roster and adding arms because of all the scenarios, to go pitch in the show and see if they're able to stick. So I'm fired up for our guys, man. Congrats to Zach Hess and to Alex Lang for having the chance to go pitch in the show in a very weird season, but they're in Detroit, and they will be facing major league hitters within the month, which is phenomenal to see. So congrats to both guys. I'm fired up for them. All right, it's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Shaw Bills Tire and Auto Service. ShawBillsTire.com. 18 locations in South Louisiana. Find the location nearest you at ShawBillsTire.com. If you're hitting the road for that summer road trip, before you do, if you need the oil change, the tires rotated, a tune-up, Shaw Bills has got you covered. Maybe your tires are threadbare and you don't remember the last time you bought new tires. Get on by Shaw Bills. Buy some new tires, because they have name brand tires at wholesale prices. They're committed to selling you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible, and they do that because they know when they treat you great, you'll keep coming back for your vehicle maintenance and service year after year after year. That model's worked for more than half a century. Since 1968, Shaw Bills, we keep you rolling. So today, the Blitnikoff Award watch list came out, and a couple of Tigers were on it. Of course, the guy who won the award last year with Jamar Chase, and Terrace Marshall also named a Blitnikoff Award preseason watch list member. So congrats to both those guys. It's deserved on both accounts. I don't think that's surprising to anyone, especially considering one of the guys won the award last year, and both were among the nation's leaders in those categories. So Chase and Marshall, both on the Blitnikoff Award watch list. Earlier this week, the Bednarik Award watch list, we saw 3 Tigers on the list. But we did not see Miles Brennan on the Davey O'Brien watch list, which is something I talked about, and I labeled it a snub, and some of you kind of scoffed at that. But the fact that a guy like Mac Jones is on the list, and Mac Jones basically was a part-time fill-in last year for Tua after his injury, hasn't really accomplished much in his career. Meanwhile, Miles Brennan is a fourth-year player who has played at times at LSU, and he's inheriting one of the best offenses in football. It's not that dissimilar from a Oklahoma quarterback being on the Heisman odds list. It's not like Miles Brennan has Heisman odds this year because he's the quarterback at LSU with all of these weapons. So it should stand to reason that he'd be on the list. I was very surprised that no LSU running back was on the Doak Walker Award watch list. And it's not, and you're going to say, come on, Matt. Like, none of these guys have done anything. And in context, you're right. Because, or in a vacuum, I should say, you're right. Because you're thinking Clyde Edwards-Helaire was just a first-round draft pick. And before that, you were talking about guys like Darius Geis and Leonard Fournette. And even Nick Brissett was a 1,000-yard rusher. And Jeremy Hill. And we know the great list of running backs. And you look at Chris Curry, Ty Davis-Price, John Emery, and go, yeah, none of them really have done anything in their college career. And you're right. But sometimes you have the benefit of the name brand program recognition and history. Like I just mentioned, like with Oklahoma quarterbacks who kind of get the benefit of the doubt because of the system they're in. I mean, Spencer Rattler shouldn't be on anybody's list, but he's going to be because he's the Oklahoma quarterback, and they keep churning out Heisman winners, All-Americans, and first-round draft picks. So Spencer Rattler, by default, is going to be there. Like, LSU running backs should be because, like, if this were a list of 20 guys, okay, go pick the 20 best. Travis Etienne's back. Chuba Hubbard, who was a finalist a year ago when Jonathan Taylor won it. I'm cool with that. There are guys who have done a lot of great things, like Kylan Hill, Najee Harris, Rakeem Boyd. Guys who have been solid college running backs that are going to play in the NFL. All that makes a ton of sense. But then you look at this list, and you go, there are 9 SEC running backs on this list. for the Doak Walker Award. Watch this. 9 SEC running backs. Can you name, I just named 3 of them for you. Can you name 6 other SEC running backs? Can you? I mean, you might nail a couple, but the guys on the list, I mean, you got James Cook from Georgia, Eric Gray from Tennessee, Larry Roundtree from Missouri. Brain, did you know Larry Roundtree played for Missouri? Honest to goodness.
No.
If I said the name DJ Williams, who did he play for? Do you know?
South Carolina?
Auburn.
Darn.
He's on the list. What about Isaiah Spiller? Ever heard of him?
No, but I'm guessing he's not Auburn.
No. A&M. It's kind of my point. James Cook is on this list, running back from Georgia. Last year as a sophomore, James Cook carried the ball 31 times for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns. You want to take a guess at what Ty Davis Price's numbers were last year? Remember, James Cook, 31 carries, $188, 2 scores. He's on the list. Ty Davis Price, 64 carries, 295, and 6 touchdowns. Doubled up James Cook, but Ty Davis Price isn't on the list. As a matter of fact, John Emery had double the number of touchdowns and to a point the exact same yardage that Cook did a year ago. And Chris Curry actually had 1 more rushing yard. Emery had 188. Curry had 189. Neither of them's on the list, but James Cook from Georgia is at 188. DJ Williams, the aforementioned from Auburn, by the way, 400 yards, 2 scores. Ty Davis Price had triple the number of touchdowns a year ago that DJ Williams did, but DJ Williams is on the list. Do you realize Eric Gray from Tennessee was 20th in the SEC in rushing a year ago? He's on this list. You remember Garrett Schrader from Mississippi State? Like, the thing he's known for is like going airborne on the sideline and getting helicoptered. You know what I'm talking about, right? That viral play where he went airborne and got hit and he spun like 10 feet in the air. Garrett Schrader had more rushing yards last year than Eric Gray did. Eric Gray's on this list. So my point is, in a vacuum, I could buy you saying, man, no LSU running back deserves to be on the watch list. I'm with you. But neither does 20 guys that made this list of 76 college running backs. You're going to tell me at a running back factory like LSU that's churned out from Kevin Falk to LeBrandon Toefield to Dominic Davis and Ali Broussard and Justin Vincent to Shyrone Carey and Joseph Adai, who was a first-round draft pick, and Jacob Hester and Keelan Williams and Charles Scott and Stephen Ridley. You're going to tell me Leonard Fournette, Darius Geis, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that one of the LSU running backs doesn't deserve to be on a list of 76 watch list running backs in the country? Hey, man, I'm not huge into bulletin board material. Like, I think you can find it, you can materialize it wherever you want. Look, I mean, if you watch the Jordan documentary, like, he made up stories to get pissed off at guys. But if you're LSU and you need a little fuel, post that thing in the locker room. It's After Further Review, brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Mark Grant of CBS, director of CBS Sports, going to join us here just a few minutes. We're brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, commercial or residential. If your home central AC is not keeping up, call River City's 1 Hour Air. If you've not yet had your AC tune-up and rejuvenation, call River City's 1 Hour Air. You're going to kick yourself when it starts blowing hot or it shuts down altogether, and you're going to go, man, what if I had uncovered the little issue months ago when Scone told me to call that would have cost $97 for your AC tune-up and rejuvenation, and now you didn't, and now you got a major issue with your AC that's going to be costly. Don't do it, y'all. Have this standard maintenance done on your AC. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. Mark Grant joins us next.
AFR.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Ochsner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Ochsner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Toyota, we don't just sell cars, we buy them too. Bring your car in so we can see it, and within minutes, you can turn your car into cash or trade it in towards your next vehicle. It's a fast and easy process. We buy your car at Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I always enjoy when we get a few minutes with our friend Mark Grant, a Baton Rouge native, LSU alum, and for the last 22 years has been a director for the NFL on CBS. And obviously there is a lot going on in the sports world and how it's all going to transpire amid COVID. So I want to pick Mark's brain about that. But more importantly, this Saturday, CBS, 1 o'clock Central, is going to air CBS Sports Connected, What It Means to Be Me. And Mark was a driving force behind this, and he's good enough to join us to chat about it. Mark, thanks for the time, my friend. As always, we appreciate you, man. How are you?
Hey, Matt, it's been a long time. It's nice to hear your voice again.
Man, we appreciate you. Let me just start with how it's been for you amid quarantine and working without live sports.
Yeah, normally this time of year I'm off anyway. Normally I work I work March Madness, do the NCAA tournament, and then go right to Augusta and do the Masters. And when the Masters ends in the middle of April, I am off until basically till football season begins. But this year has been a little bit different in that I did a college basketball game the first weekend of March, and I've been off since then. And so I've been off for a little bit longer time, and will be off for a little bit longer, until NFL starts, if it does. And so, it's just, staying around the house and, home confinement with the wife, not going out, haven't been to the mall, anything like that. It's a little bit different. I bought a boat so I could do a little fishing. Once a week I get out of the house and go fishing. But, yeah, it's been a little bit different, and just to be able to not watch sports, other people, see what the competition's doing, and watch Major League Baseball or some other things, it was different. And CBS got golf back a few weeks ago, and they're back in the swing of doing live productions. I'm not a part of it, but it is nice to see live sports on TV once again.
How do you think live sports might be different for both for you and for the viewer this fall?
Yeah, well, I think that just basically for the viewer, you're going to see some sports that don't have fans in the stands. I think that the risk is too great. And so I don't think that we're going to see the full houses of packed stadiums, especially when it comes to football, be that college football or NFL. I just don't think you're going to see that you may see some people in the stands, you may see no people in the stands, and that'll be a little bit different. That's the bad thing. The good thing about it, though, is that from a TV director's standpoint, if you don't have anybody in the stands, I mean, there's no places you can't put TV cameras. And so if you're covering live sports and there's some favorable camera positions that we normally can't get because people are sitting in those seats, that will be better for us. But the bad side is that no one's in the stands. You can't capture the excitement, the emotion, and all that. But yeah, so that's going to be different in terms of inside the TV truck in the world that I live in. It's going to be tough because we're very tight it's very tight quarters in the TV truck, and they've got to do something to ensure our safety as well. A lot of people think about player safety and fan safety, but the TV crew, our safety is just as important as everybody else's. And so what a lot of these productions are going to be now is they're going to have more TV trucks. So, normally in a football game, when we do a football game, we have 2 TV trucks together to do the production. I can see now that we might have 3 or 4 trucks and spread people out a little bit more so that they're not all right on top of each other in 1 or 2 trucks, just to make it safer for all of us. And so that's going to be different as well. And, of course, all the safety checks and all that. I mean, even with the golf that CBS is doing now, they're very aggressive about making sure that, people arrive on site and they don't have a fever. They're not sniffling or anything like that. And if they do, they're sent right home. And then there's backups, not even on site. With the technology we have now, remotes can be done. You can be the director and be directing from, Stamford, Connecticut, but the golf is going on in Florida or somewhere like that. That backup is in place as well. And there's another backup out in California. So if we have viruses in 2 places, we still have a third place to kind of cover the golf. We can't do that for football because we do so many games. But, we can't do that with golf, and we're trying to figure out the best way to do football, the safest way to do football. And, we don't want anybody to get the virus and take it home to one of their loved ones, and their loved ones take it to somebody else, and it just is a domino effect. So we're trying to do the best we can with that. Interesting.
So, so theoretically, Mark, you could be directing games well, I guess for the NFL, like you said, you'd have to be on site in a truck. But, but theoretically, you could be directing games for other sports, maybe like from a command center somewhere not on site of the game.
Yeah, that's true. Earlier this year, I a lot of times when I get assigned events, and I was doing a game for CBS Sports Network earlier this year, and I was very excited that I was doing a 2-lane basketball game. 80 miles down the road, I get to go to New Orleans and do the game, and it's going to be great. And then they decided to make that a remote broadcast game. And so while the game was being played at Tulane, I was actually directing the game from from Burbank, California.
So you had to fly to LA to direct.
I had to fly all the way to LA to direct the game at Tulane. Yeah.
That doesn't seem cost effective, Mark, but I would assume a plane ticket to LA is probably less than having a sat truck and everything at Tulane.
Well, exactly. And with the transmission we use now, we use IP addresses and things like that. It's a lot easier to transmit. You can do multiple cameras and audio and all that over the internet, as opposed to having a satellite truck there. And just the cost of getting everybody there, it's a lot cheaper. And it was a good test to see if we could do it in the future. And certainly we've taken that. Unfortunately, it's happened, and we're doing it now in other sports. And the CBS Sports Network this fall in their college football is probably going to go that entire way, doing college football on CBS Sports, our cable channel, not our main CBS Sports channel, but our cable channel. So, yeah, it's real.
Interesting. Mark Grant is with us, 22 years, director for the NFL on CBS, Baton Rouge native, LSU grad. Always enjoy our conversation. Mark, but, man, you're working on something or have worked on something that is far more impactful, the 846 campaign, and also part of CBS Sports Connected, What It Means to Be Me, that's going to air on Saturday. I'll just leave it open-ended and let you best describe for our audience what it is that you all at CBS have been working on.
Yeah, well, ever since the tragedy of George Floyd, I think the attention to police brutality amongst black people has really come to light. And CBS wanted to make an effort to try to when they got back into doing live sports, which was the first thing they did was golf, is they wanted to show something that said that they support Black Lives Matter and they understand that there's social and racial injustice and all that. And so they asked a lot of people to come up with an idea that we can somehow in our golf coverage do something that reflects on that. And there were a lot of ideas passed about. There were a lot of ideas, and one of the ideas was the 846 campaign, where you have 8 people talk for a total of 8 minutes and 46 seconds, which is how long the showman had his knee on George Floyd's neck, and they do 1-minute things, and the time totals up to 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It was my idea. I'm not bragging about it, but it was an idea, and I just had the idea. And CBS put it in the hands of some people much more talented than me to make it happen. And so that became known as the 846 campaign. And it got a lot of positive feedback from, people across the industry, commissioners of different leagues and all that. And that has continued. And out of that, CBS decided that they wanted to do an hour-long show in our Connected series about what it means to be me, what it means to be black in this society we live in right now. And they wanted to take a different spin on it. They wanted to try to have people get involved with it and host the show that weren't the normal on-camera people. They didn't want Jim Nance. They didn't want James Brown. They wanted people who were working behind the scenes to host, and I was chosen to be one of those people. So I had a chance to sit down and interview 2 people that are on camera at CBS, Amanda Balionis, who was our golf reporter, and Amy Trask, who hosts a show who is a part of a show on CBS Sports Network called That Other Pregame Show, and she was the former CEO of the Oakland Raiders. So I sat down and talked to them, and my subject was talking about being an ally. And so there's a 6-minute segment with me and Amy and Amanda talking, and there's other segments. My boss, Harold Bryant, is talking to Grant Hill and Lisa Leslie. And it just goes down the line. We have a lot of people that you recognize. Ian Eagle's a part of it. Tracy Wolfson's a part of it. And so, I've been a part, Matt, I've been a part of a lot of great things in my career at ESPN and at CBS. I've done Super Bowls. I've done Final Fours. I've been to the Masters. I've done, the U.S. Open tennis. I've done a lot of great things. But there's nothing in my career that I'm more proud of than what's going to air on Sunday on CBS Sports. I'm very, very proud to be a part of it. I'm glad that CBS asked me to be a part of it. And I just think that it's going to really, really be a great show that I hope everybody gets a chance to see.
Mark, what was it like for you being on the other side of the camera?
It was really hard. I mean, I'm so used to directing other people, and then now I'm taking direction from people, and it's not my cup of tea. I will say this, Matt. I'm not going to give up my day job to be a host. That's for sure.
Well, you really.
I enjoy doing it, but it was hopefully it's a one and done.
Well,
and
Well, Mark, you're really good at your day job, and I guess I can candidly say I got to see a little snippet of your part, which it's so well done and so enlightening, and I hope everyone takes the time on Saturday to set your DVR. Mark, I would assume that after it airs that it'll be available digitally, right? If people can't watch it live on Saturday.
Yeah, and I'll make sure I get that link sent to you, Matt. If you want to put it on your website or on Twitter or something like that, I'll make sure that you have it so that anybody who wants to watch it can.
Absolutely. Mark Grant, director with CBS Sports, longtime director of the NFL and CBS for 22 years, and working on what is an amazing project, and I'm looking forward to seeing the entire thing. Mark, before you go, can you give us any other little tidbits or anything sort of that maybe – have you seen the entire hour-long production yet?
Yeah, I did. I watched it. We had a screening of it yesterday, and it was probably 90% done yesterday. And there are some really, really good segments in there. I think that Ian Eagle and the segment with Ian Eagle and Tracy Wilson just talking about education is a really, really, really good segment. One of the things Tracy Wilson talks about is she talks about how kids don't need to learn about the Louisiana Purchase 5 times when they're in school. Maybe there's other things they can learn about, such as the history of Black America and the way it's funny, but it's also sad that kids learn the Louisiana Purchase 5 or 6 times, but there's other things that are just as important to learn about that they never get a chance to learn about. And so I thought that was a very, very good segment. And Swin Cash talking about her kids and raising a kid, and Nate Burleson talking about being a father of two boys and how it's he worries every time he goes out if he's going to come home and it's going to be. I mean, it's very, very poignant. And I don't care where you stand on how do you feel about Black Lives Matter. No, this is a very, very important show that I think everybody can benefit by watching, and I think that it's going to be I hope it's well received, and I hope that people just are a little bit more informed after watching the show.
Well said. CBS Sports Connected, What It Means to Be Me. It's going to be Saturday, 1 o'clock Central on CBS. So set your DVR, make a point to watch, or certainly we'll tweet out the link when it's available digitally after it airs. Mark Grant, we appreciate you as always, man. We'll see you soon, okay?
All right, Matt. Thanks. Good talking to you.
You as always. Mark Grant, director with CBS. I mean, I tell you, it's when you talk to Mark about just all of his experiences professionally, he's a remarkably accomplished guy who is as humble a guy as you'd ever see. But directing the NFL for 22 years at CBS, I mean, he was one of the pioneers of Tiger Vision at LSU back in the days in the 80s, and went to ESPN, was a director there. The last 22 years, CBS. I mean, the things he's done from like you just heard of, Super Bowls, Masters, and U.S. Open tennis, and college football and basketball. I mean, things you'd never hear him brag about, but all of those things professionally, for him to say this is, for him, his proudest achievement. I mean, it's points amazing. I got to see Mark let me see his 6-minute cut. And it was incredible. I mean, I learned more about a guy that I've known for 17 years in that 6 minutes that he and I have never spoken about. So I'm very much looking forward to watching the entire thing on Saturday. Hopefully you will as well. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out our final break of the show. We'll come back. We'll have some otter locks and what we learn next on AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Carriages in Bocage, carriagesbr.com. Let me remind you again, the summer sale is still going on at Carriages in Bocage. So get on by, see Will, see all our friends over at Carriages in Bocage, and save. So the concept is simple. The more you buy, the more you save. Buy one item, 20% off. Buy 2 items, 40% off. Buy 3 items, 50% off. You can shop their enormous selection of suits, of sport coats, summer sportswear, already marked 50% off. There are items that are already, like sport coats are already marked 50% off. And now you're adding on to that. Buy more, save more at Carriages in Bocage. You know where they are, in the courtyard in Bocage Village. If you want to go stock up, this is the time to do it because these deals don't come along often. It's at Carriages in Bocage.
0% for 72 months on all new 2020 F-150s. Visit Bayou Ford for a new 2020 Ford F-150 with 0% for 72 months. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Service Master Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Master Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Master Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
In an eye out for danger. If I built a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers. Offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Hey, T-Bob, sports wouldn't be the same without the die-hard fans, so we're highlighting the fans that do it the most.
Every week, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge brings you the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week. Check it out, 1045ESPN.com.
It's the Citizens Bank Fan of the Week.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I'm so late. Let's get some bets, some bad bets. It's time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
Otter, I got like 2 minutes. How are you?
Doing good.
Did we win
Moscona.
last night?
How about
did we
you?
win or no? What did we do? How did we do last night?
Lost to the dog, although the dogs did profit last night, UFC card. But Doug Kazarian stays on fire. He said went over. It went the distance in the main event.
Okay.
He'll be coming on tomorrow again at 6:15 and giving out some more picks for the MMA. He's on fire at the MMA card. Last 5 out of 6, the one he lost was a joke. I mean, the ref should have stopped it about a minute earlier, but it went just over the over-under. So he's on fire.
Yeah,
and so I lose last night. So you know what I did? I got to the bullpen. I got Tony Lightfoot's pick in the Premier League for tomorrow. Huh? No kidding. There he is. Mask on. It's Jolie Pearl. Tony Lightfoot has made his way over here. He's got
You're legit. You're at Jolie Pearl, and the former video producer of this show, Tony Lightfoot, is there. Tony from Ducktown.
He's there, and he's relegation focused right now. That's right. So he's got West Ham over Watford tomorrow. Plus 237 coming back now. Now you got to sweat. You got to sweat the draw line. So if you, but he's got plus 237.
Okay.
So West Ham. There you go. Hey,
West Ham
man,
plus 237. I'm writing it down. West Ham. Got
All right. I know you're not following the golf a whole lot, but you have at least know that like basically 20 under is the winner every week. Well, they adjusted. They wanted to make it tough in Jack Nicklaus's course today. But then the windy conditions. Here's what came into play. Phil Mickelson's over-under yesterday was 70.5. Tiger Woods yesterday, 69.5. From like 9 a.m. to 10 a.m., the way the conditions were going, they bumped it up 2 strokes.
Oh.
Well, yesterday, Phil 70.5. Today, 72.5. Where's it fall? Right in the middle. Tiger Woods yesterday, 69.5. Yesterday, 71.5. Falls right in the middle at 71. So some major times it gonna major important when you get that action in.
All
Mr.
right.
Moscona.
Y'all go see the Otter at Jolie Pearl or listen in Baton Rouge right here on 104.5 ESPN or on Facebook. Game Time with Jimmy Ott. Thank you, Otter.
I almost called it game night last night, you son of a.
Later, we'll see you. All right, we got to get out of here. Brain, what did you learn on the show today?
That Tony from Dutchtown still exists.
My boys over there making picks with the Otter. Paul, what did you learn?
The MEAC has suspended, not canceled.
Bingo. Thank you, Paul O'Neill, for paying attention.
Matt, what did you learn?
Suspended, not canceled. You definitely have 2 bets playing right now.
Is that what you learned?
Sure. We're getting out of here. Thanks to the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com, changing lives since 1999. At GMFS Mortgage, they want to be your lender for life. So if you're a first-time home buyer, like Erica and I were 10 years ago when we got married and we bought our first home, GMFS Mortgage can be there for you like they were for us. When our family grew and we were looking for our next home, sold that first home, bought the next one, GMFS Mortgage was there for us. Amid all of the COVID-19 turbulence, I took my own advice, the advice I give you every day, to call your lender and see. I called Doug Bickley, GMFS. I said, Doug, should we refinance? Fact of the matter is, when we bought our most recent home, Doug got us in at such a low rate, said, you're fine where you are. But at least we know you have that relationship with your lender for life at GMFS Mortgage. So log on to gmfsmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives.
If I built a van, it would do more than haul.
It would carry my entire business. I'd make it available in dozens. Make that thousands of configurations.
It would keep an eye on my fleet.
And an eye out for danger. If I build a van, I'd make it available in diesel and gas. And I'd build it right here in South Carolina.
Introducing the all-new Sprinter, starting at $33,790. Built in the USA. Mercedes-Benz. Vans. Born to run.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is a local bank with a straightforward philosophy.
It's about doing the right thing for our customers.
Participating in our community with annual local fundraisers, offering individual attention in a modern banking atmosphere with a trusted local company. Gulf Coast Bank invested in technology with a local touch, giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime.
We're building relationships through personal service as the bank that cares about you.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that